There we go. Now we're on. Ooh, it's loud. It's very loud. Look at that. My microphone's all loud and everything's working. Look at that. Hey, look at that. New graphics. Isn't that fun? Oh, there's two of them. I have double the alerts. It's just over it's off the chain. Hold on. It's going to chirp and make all kinds of noise. So beg your pardon. Here, I'll squeeze that down. That's very big, but it's good. Thank you. And I made them stay longer so I don't have to go, oh, something happened, and then it's gone. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. I've got bells and whistles. I'm working on bells and whistles. Wish me luck. This is an entirely different setup. I mean, I know it looks the same, but the guts are different. And you can see like little, look at that, little people, best donors and all that kind of stuff. And it goes right behind me and comes out the other side. Where'd my, where'd my little, I had a, is that it? What's happening? This guy? Oh, I froze myself. No? All right. Yeah, there it is. Okay, good. Where's my little, there it is. Okay, good. All right, so now the tip cup's there and it's a Pachinko machine. Okay. Phew, I couldn't figure out what was going on. I've so many things flying all at once. I beg your pardon. Welcome to the show, everybody. How you doing? Happy Monday to you all. It seems a weird phrase to say, and it's actually getting back to the point where we're actually having Mondays again. That's right. People are going to work. You can go to Target without a mask if you've been vaccinated, if you want to. It's optional, all that stuff. I'm curious how everybody feels about that. Summer is not having it. She is not going anywhere near people because they are disgusting liars and will pretend that they've been vaccinated when they have not, especially at Walmart and places like that. So lots of folks are, even though we've been, the mask mandate is step by step, cautiously being lifted in a bunch of different places. This is definitely a change for people that's taking some adaptation. It's taking some, it's going to take a little while for some people to get back to abnormal. And so everybody, man lai, as the Chinese say, bit by bit, piece by piece, we'll all slowly get back there. And there's a lot to talk about today. And I almost in looking for stuff, and I'm sure as Can't Stop Lying is looking for stuff as well for us to talk about on the show, because it's very hard for me to go through because I choose to do stuff on the show that I have not seen, that I've not pre-watched. And that gets increasingly difficult when you get kind of down a rabbit hole and you want to talk about a topic. So it used to be that I would find this video about something and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to watch it until then or whatever. Now there's enough people covering it that I could watch their videos and know pretty much what is actually happening. Thanks. I'm glad you like the shirt, guys. So as I've been going over some stuff, one of the things that is abundantly clear about YouTube, especially right now, I don't know if it's true as much about Twitch because Twitch is almost entirely live streaming. So I don't tend to go through like a backlog of shows and look, but there's a tremendous amount of Biden bashing going on in the right-wing media sphere, the vlogosphere. I mean, we're used to the Glenn Becks of the world and the Bill O'Reillys and, nothing Democrats do is right and yada, yada. And that it's all, a slippery slope to socialism where we've all been disarmed and UN shock troops roll in and you turn Agenda 21 into Jade Helm and we're all turned into milkshakes for aliens or something. It's once you start digging deep, it gets a little nutty. And we clearly have, the big dogs are doing it. Like our dear friend and compatriot, Greg Kelly, who is just bitter as an aspirin sandwich right now. Greg Kelly is a mess. Nothing makes this guy happy at all. He is increasingly miserable, and I'm here for it. It's a joy to watch. It is beautiful. I mean, look at how angry. And the guy's looking at a graphic that isn't even there. Like, you have to understand, when I do this show, this little panel right here, I have arranged my monitor so that when I look, it's my video software that has me on it is right here. I'm pointing right at what I see that shows me what's on screen, so I see what you guys are seeing. The video I'm looking at is right there. So that when I look at something, when I'm watching this video, my eyes are relatively close to that making sense. So visually, my eye line is all right. It's not dead on, it'd be a little weird, but that's how I do it, right? This asshole isn't looking, there's no monitor to his left. He just looked at it, this thing, and now he's just looking angrily to his left. There is nothing there for him to see. They didn't put a monitor to Greg Kelly's left so he could look over and really emote, really find what's his motivation for being so hate-filled and broken. He's literally just owning it. He's so mad, he can just act it. And the dude is swinging for the fences. So there's a lot to cover on the show today. Rudy Giuliani is celebrating the September 11th anniversary on May 11th. I mean, I don't know if he posted this just recently or what. It's lunacy. Did he just have it in his phone? And when he got it back from the FBI, they're like, you got like 4 episodes of your show on here you haven't posted. I watch you religiously. And then, of course, mask mandates. I don't know why. I guess Glenn Beck missed being in his blue studio. So they just put a bluish hue over the entire screen. It's kind of like the happy drug in Kids in the Hall's brain candy. Yeah, one of my graphics did move. It's up in the corner. It's over the people because I didn't want it behind my head and I couldn't fit it down there without it being something weird. So I'm working on a different version, but piece by piece. And also, if for any reason today's show takes an absolute shit, please forgive me because I've been messing around behind the scenes. Oh, and we find out today what covfefe means. I'm not kidding. It's a code. Shouldn't surprise you. The Qs have figured out. And the Qs are back. I want you to know that on YouTube and Twitch and all these other places, they are all over the place. That's something else. This guy, the Wano Savin, Simon Parks, all those folks. This is just a rando dude who puts it, and then of course our friend Kristen W, who used to show up on Roseanne's thing, is gene decoded number 20, covfefe, many meanings, 5G, 6G. So just, okay, I can, you have to understand, there is, and thanks, Amy. It's an awesome shirt. I'm very excited. I got this. It's pretty cheaply made, I have to admit. It's one of those things like one wash and it already started to eat away. But, what are you gonna do? It was too cool to pass up and it was very cheap. So let's hear and by the way, Greg, here's the deal. Emperor Biden, by the way, he capitalizes Biden, but he does not capitalize emperor and puts it in single quotes title-wise. We'll see. He just looks brutally pissed. It's hilarious.
It's Joe Biden, not Joe.
Oh, good Lord. Hold on.
Your name is Joe Biden, not Joe Stalin.
Oh my God, this man. How are you that bitter that quick? Holy shit. Hold on, I got to turn my headphones up. Turn my headphones up, man. This is too quiet.
This guy is carried away with
with what?
Power that he doesn't have.
Well, then how can he get carried away with power he doesn't have? Okay, let's see.
After a year of hard work and so much sacrifice.
Who does he think he is? Greg, pretty sure he thinks he's president of the United States, the leader of the free world, the American president, the president of the greatest country on earth. I'm pretty sure that's who he thinks he is. Now, just because you think Trump is still president because you live vicariously through him somehow and you're a lunatic doesn't mean he ain't.
The rule is very simple. Get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do.
By the way, that's not an order. Wait till this asshole reacts to this like it's a government mandate that will require like enforcement. This is simply the best advice the CDC can give right now. Get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do, to save your life, the lives of your friends and family, of strangers that you don't want to be guilty of killing because you're a lazy, self-involved, vain boomer asshole. See, it's fun that lands right on his face. You know what I mean? I almost feel like you guys should just cheer just to abuse Greg Kelly. So, watch how mad he's going to get. Like, look how I can just... all right.
The rule is very simple.
It's not a rule. It's proper advice. It's CDC guidance. It's not a rule. As a matter of fact, it's been a rule in some places for a year. It's a rule in federal buildings. But on private property and in private businesses, the government does not have the ability to enforce this directly. By city ordinance, they can, but the federal government can't. And so, and by the way, so that's when you see people, like de Blasio going after club owners who were open up, and weren't doing social distancing and all that shit in the early part of the pandemic, especially. That's a city ordinance. Cities and emergencies can do the same thing in the same way that you can't operate a preschool in the middle of a hurricane in the middle of a busy highway. The city can come and shut you down, and it's not an attack on preschool education.
Just remember, Joe Biden didn't follow that rule. Ever.
He didn't? He didn't follow that rule ever? No?
Take a look at this picture. Joe Biden, unmasked, unvaccinated, in November of 2020.
Yeah, they were all isolated. They were all doing everything that you were supposed to do, the internal guidance.
His family, who had just flown in from all over the country to see him celebrate his election victory. Anyway.
They were all tested, by the way. He was tested. They were all tested. He had just won the election. They knew. Everybody there was tested. Everybody had been tested. They had a 72-hour test. They'd also been tested that morning. We've been through all this bullshit.
When Joe puts out a tweet like...
Did his fucking phone just gling? It's hard to hear the video. Okay, I'll turn it up. I'll see if I can...
this.
Yeah, it's quiet. It's quiet on that end. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can fix that. I beg your pardon if it's a little wonky on these. I don't want to mute it when captured. How do I turn this up? Oh, let's see. Because I don't want my voice to be too loud. Let's see. Going to do a little bit of shuffling right now. See if I can bring this down a touch, because my voice is really loud like that. And then if I bring it down to where it's within the shooting range of that, and then bring this up. Thanks for being patient, guys. And then bring this back up to here. Maybe this will help.
It's offensive. He has no place saying...
Okay, still needs to be... Still compensating, still doing it. Hold on one second. Then I will do gain. And thanks for letting me know, guys. Again, this is happening on the fly. So, beg your pardon. Okay, let's see.
Saying stuff like this. The rule is now simple. Get vaccinated or wear a mask until you do. This is a free country. The CDC actually said, this is guidance, Joe. We can make our own decisions as much as you like to pretend.
Asshole! He knows that. He's saying it as guidance. I'm not sniffling. I'm drinking a cold drink. It's all.
To pretend that you're some sort of...
Summer brought me like a green drink or something, and I think something's making my nose itch. Something in it, some weird healthy thing.
Of emperor, it does not quite work that way.
Why? Look, okay, right-wingers, little bit of advice. When you overreact like this, when you panic about the simplest, most normal aspects of governance and the president making statements to the public about best practices, and that, when you overreact and call him an emperor, the rest of the time it totally flatlines any other legitimate policy difference you might have, because you just look like a fucking lunatic. You look like a whingy snowflake. I thought we were supposed to be the easily broken ones that panic, right? Aren't we? I mean, I understood. Look, it's got to be hard mining Joe Biden for shit to be outraged about. It's got to be really difficult. You know what I mean? Like, look at the gas pipeline that was hacked and it's causing shortages on the East Coast, which is where all these assholes live, by the way. And so they're all acting as if this is a return to Carter's deal with OPEC, which wasn't even his fault, and the 70s gas price issue, when, by the way, none of the cars had the efficiency that we have. All the gas companies have an ROI, on a return on investment, when they can how much they can raise gas prices before people just go, screw it, I'm finally getting an electric car. I'm sick of being on the hook for these guys. And they know that. So right now they're pushing it up just like they do every summer to make up for last year. And then they're going to lay back this fall, and they're going to lay back during the Christmas holiday season to make sure people don't buy it. And watch, there'll be these weird little drops in the gas price around Labor Day, for example, and other travel holidays like Thanksgiving, because they don't want people's mind to be on gas. That kind of stuff will happen because it really is about like the long-term security of their investment in their own industry, right? But when you look at this shit, how dare you, Mr. President? First of all, well, I mean, this word might point to why he might dare, but and that he calls him emperor with a little e in single quotes, like it's so petty. Greg, you're a wuss. You are a complete weakling. You are a snowflake. You are a delicate asshole. This is pathetic. Go pick something else to bitch about. And if this is what your audience needs to hear about, if you have to cover this and you're trying to, then, and this is the best you can come up with, maybe, just maybe, you are not intellectually, emotionally, or psychologically capable of the job you actually have. You can't do it. If your audience wants to hear about mask mandates and what do I do, and they're turning this over, and I never believed it and that's your crowd. We know that. It's the Newsmax crowd. If that's what they need to hear, and this is the best you can come up with, that's it. That's it. This is Emperor Biden because he suggests, all right, how weak. It's amazing.
Hey, remember this, by the way, Joe, because if we were to follow you and your guidance and your edicts strictly, we'd be in big trouble.
The last thing we need is a Neanderthal thinking that in the meantime everything's fine, take off your mask, forget it. It still matters.
Right. That still stands with, I thought this was Neanderthal thinking. Do you realize how many fewer people were vaccinated on March 3rd? You have to understand, this only works if they don't admit that Biden's 100-day strategy was that he totally dunked on these assholes by coming up with 225 million shots in that amount of time. That 60% of adults in this country are vaccinated. 70% of Americans over the age of 12 are going to be vaccinated by July 4th. Let me explain something to you. This is Biden's entire strategy, and I don't want to give it away entirely, but they only make a deadline for themselves when they have an extra period of time to work it out, whether it's 2 weeks or a month or 6 weeks or whatever. If they know they can get it done by June 15th, they're going to say July 4th. If it was July 4th was the actual deadline for 70% of Americans getting vaccinated, they would say Labor Day. Do you understand how this works? Because they're not stupid. And the way that they're dunking on these idiots is because they keep they keep setting these dates up and killing it. They're absolutely killing it. And look at this. I thought this was Neanderthal thinking. March 3rd it was. You want to go back with how many people were vaccinated on March 3rd?
Neanderthal thinking.
Yes. I honestly, Greg, I would say it was Neanderthal thinking when you did it, but that's far too butch.
Neanderthal thinking to take off the mask before everybody was vaccinated. That's back in March. Well, not everybody is vaccinated.
No, not everybody was vaccinated. That wasn't what he said at all, dickhead. He didn't. Did anyone hear him say? Did anyone hear Joe Biden in that clip say when everybody's vaccinated? Anybody? Does anybody think everybody's going to get vaccinated? The Newsmax audience are largely anti-vaxxers. By the way, Greg Kelly's either gotten vaccinated already or he's going to. Guarantee it. Guarantee it.
So, of course, he's all over the place on this and his own...
No, he isn't. March 3rd. Do you have any idea how how time works as it rolls forward?
Conduct has been pretty interesting. Again, hugging that family, hugging and kissing, and they all flew in.
Everybody been tested, both rapid tests that day, 3 days beforehand. We know this.
From all over the country.
Tests were available because he just won the presidency. But keep trying. Keep trying.
Take this guy seriously. If only he knew what he was doing. And you know what?
Dude, he doubled his goal of vaccinations. The strategy worked. Where are those Walmart parking lot army setups getting people vaccinated? Where are those? Because that was Trump's plan. They brought people out. We watched him when he was standing out there with the upside down testing machine and all that shit. And he was like, we're going to have the armies all set up. We got a logistics dude, which, by the way, he got the idea from Biden when they had that phone call May?
You know what would have been nice at some point in this administration?
What? That they apologize to you for speaking too fast.
A real, true, robust acknowledgement of Donald Trump. And since...
The acknowledgement for what? For what? Pfizer and Moderna weren't part of Operation Warp Speed. It was just cash. They did not operate with the task force. They were the first ones out of the gate. AstraZeneca and Johnson & Johnson were. Both of them had pauses because they rushed things.
Since no one is doing it in the Biden administration, good for Donald Trump for doing it himself. A classic statement from the 45th president of the United States.
A classic statement. Please, Greg Kelly, please do your Donald Trump when you read this out loud.
United States, let's go ahead and put it up. Isn't it incredible that because of the vaccines, which I and my administration came up with years ahead of schedule.
What schedule? What schedule? I mean, like, say way early or super fast or at Operation, where do we have it? Yes. At Operation Fart Steed levels. What schedule? I'm sorry. Did we have a pandemic? I mean, when I look at all the conspiracy theorists that deal in all this stuff, the Qs and the ancillary psychopaths that make up Trumpsters and maggots. One of the things, the phrase they keep using is plandemic. Right? We've heard this a bunch. We've heard it's a plandemic. This was already, this is, the deep state or the George Soros or the Bill Gates, some nonsense, right? This, under normal circumstances, those conspiracy theorists, if Barack Obama had printed something like this, or Joe Biden wrote something like this, we've come up with the vaccine years ahead of schedule. Everybody in the Q world would go, oh my God, he admitted that they've planned this forever, that there was a schedule to release the disease and wipe people out. Like, am I wrong? They would absolutely do that. It's lunacy. All right, but he says this all the time, ahead of schedule. He says ahead of schedule all the time. And if there was a schedule, then Donald Trump's part of the deep state pandemic, I guess, right? Right?
That we no longer need masks, and yet our names are not even mentioned in what everybody is calling the modern day miracle of the vaccines.
No one's... The modern day miracle of vaccines? Here's why that's a problem. Modern day miracles are not miracles, especially when they're scientific. They are a direct result of where you are in the timeline on Earth. Basically, by saying modern day miracle of vaccines and saying we should get credit for that because you were president at the time, not because you were in the lab or you invented a technique like mRNA to isolate these kind of vaccines and make them possible, and you invented it around it. But it's simply that he's way ahead of quote unquote schedule because of when he was president. If Donald Trump was president in the 80s, millions dead. That's what this is. This is an admission that if he had been president, in the 90s or any time before 2006, when this stuff was on the horizon, millions dead because it would have taken as long as it did. They didn't even know this was an option as much. Now we're looking down the barrel of an mRNA vaccine for HIV, for regular coronaviruses. They're looking 2 years away. That means no more flu deaths ever. Right. Thank you, Henrietta Lacks. Exactly. Antibiotics are thousands of years old. Yeah, but these aren't antibiotics. I mean, this is that's against bacterial stuff. This is, antiviral treatments like mRNA vaccines. He's just lucky he was president when he was. Oh my God. It's
Damn right.
Modern day miracles. Really? Is he playing You Sexy Thing in the background?
Right, Mr. President. Also, just to mention.
Yeah, I believe in miracles. That's why they're playing it. You Sexy Thing. That's just gross.
Please. The Biden administration had zero to.
Just to mention, please, the Biden administration had zero to do with it. All they did was continue our plan of distribution, which is working well right from the beginning. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It had flatlined.
Do with it. All they did was continue.
Yeah, he's playing this in the background. And basically, I'm going to end up with a copyright strike because of this playing. Fair use. Fair use. These idiots are playing this in the background. And I'm covering a former president. So anybody who wants to, no copyright strikes. This is not my fault.
Was working well right from the beginning. Some of us are wondering what, I don't know,
Really? They just stopped playing it? I thought this was at least transition out, right? They just played that as background for that clip. Literally, they planned this? Greg, holy shit, dude.
ulterior motive for Joe Biden suddenly pushing this thing? No more masks from a guy?
Ulterior motive? You mean reaching the goal that they were looking for? Like, people over the age of 65 are in the biggest danger of dying from this. And almost 70% of people over the age of 65 are already vaccinated.
A guy who wore a mask during an international conference call last week. Could it be that the border is out of control? Still, it's a crisis that they deny. I don't know.
I'm sorry, dude. Where was that footage from? What was that little piece? What do we see there?
I think those are good questions. Meanwhile,
what now?
Still, it's a crisis that they deny. I don't know. I think those are good.
What crisis? What crisis? Yeah, you brought it up. Show us the numbers. Greg, don't just show people, Mexicans coming across through water from a piece of video from God knows when, from months ago, and then say, still the thing. This is your show, dude. You put this shit on screen. Explain yourself. And then we're going to photo. Notice, by the way, the footage goes from Mexicans coming across the border to a voting booth.
The border is out of control still.
Watch this.
It's a crisis that they deny.
Click.
I don't know. I think those are good questions. Meanwhile, school year is not happening.
It's not happening, man. It's just not, I'm not with it, man. I'm not grooving with this. It's just not happening.
The teachers union, successful in keeping.
It's all about money. Yeah, that's why most people get into teaching, for the cha-cha-ching, the cha-cha-cheddar cheese.
Their teachers out of school for the entire school year. There are a lot.
What, you mean the last 2 weeks? Dude, you do know what? Do they know? Hold on, let me check. Yeah, May 14th. This wasn't a video from December.
There's a lot of money on the table. They always got paid, and I think they wanted to make it to the summer so they could have that off. No school, summer. And now she's saying that we're going to have it in September. This is Randy Weingarten of the American Federations of Teachers.
Bottom line, though, without full vaccinations, is this school year probably not going to have full school openings?
It's May 14th. It's May 17th now, but it was May 14th when they did this. But school ends, half of schools ended today. Some of them end in 2 weeks on the like the 28th. Some end on the 20th. There's like, I think my kid's school ends a week from Thursday. Yeah, I'm gonna guess that they're just gonna finish out this way, do some summer school maybe to help people get reconnected, and then open normal in the fall. How is this week? Like, and most schools, like over half, have been open all year.
Well, so I'm glad you asked that question, Chuck, because what does full school opening mean?
Full school.
Well, how about let her finish your sentence, Greg? What is this? Have you been taking notes from Tucker Carlson on how to have like a slapdash gibberish opening that just kind of bounces from topic to topic and never actually resolves anything? Maybe it might be a winning strategy. Yeah, I mean,
full school opening means full school opening. They didn't want.
By what standard? Full school opening with social distancing, splitting days, that kind of stuff?
They wanted the time off. They wanted the money. It's kind of like Thanksgiving.
They wanted not to die. This young lady seems to be in the category of people who are most likely to get, if not killed by COVID, statistically speaking, have a more negative reaction to it.
You know, when you have Thanksgiving off, hopefully you do, nobody wants to go to work on Friday. And it's kind of like that.
Yeah, lazy.
Can they milk this thing through the end of June?
Really? That's your bitch point, Greg? Is that teachers don't want to work the Friday after Thanksgiving? Or people aren't? What?
And yes, they have, and that means the summer is off. And but this time,
yeah, and she's talking February 21st. Do you have any current video, Greg? Any?
They're serious. They really want to get back to school in the fall. I am not so sure, but this is what they're saying.
We can make every public school a place where parents want to send their children, where educators want to work, and where students thrive.
Sounds like a hellscape.
In current circumstances, nothing should stand in the way of fully reopening our public schools this fall and keeping them open.
This is May 13th. This is the day before this video was shot. This is their presentation. When there is 2 weeks and change left in most school years.
Of course, it's not risk-free, but we can manage the threat by encouraging people to get vaccines and following guidance from the CDC that prevents the spread of the disease.
Laying it on a bit thick there, right?
What?
By the way, what's up with these side angles, huh? You ever notice they're doing these side angles? Like somehow that makes it more interesting, right? If you mix it up.
You're kidding, right? First of all, you cut to one that you have, and you don't even have live guests ever. Secondly, she's at a podium. She's got a screen to her left that she's referencing sometimes, and they're showing it within that. This is the American Federation of Teachers headquarters, where they have been doing stuff virtually, teaching teachers how to teach virtually for months.
Up every now and then. I don't know. I see that from the Biden administration as well. This has had...
What? You what? He what? How does this? I'm sorry. Do you recall Trump's cutaways for no fucking reason with his little table and his little statements from the East Room that he would just give randomly, where they would, cut away so that they could edit? These are live, at least. So are Biden's. His stuff is all live. Trump stuff is pre-taped. They do it from 2 angles so that they could fix all of his nonsense.
Had such a corrosive effect, all this COVID stuff on society, people.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, what are these disease people thinking about making diseases?
A lot of them, sometimes I feel it myself, don't really want to go back to the office. We have developed...
Yeah, it's lazy threesomes. That's the problem. Lazy hipster threesomes sharing popcorn. What the fuck? Why do we all have to look at Greg Kelly's Pornhub search?
Developed some new and...
No work, all play. Because Americans suck. Right, Greg? Americans are just lazy. Just weak. They'd rather not do stuff. That's the thing, man.
Not so great habits.
And he's playing the sexy thing again for no reason.
Watching a lot of TV. Some of our diets have...
They paid for the sync rights. They're going to use the crap out of it.
All kinds of things going on. Pointed out...
Not only is this shot aimed at this dude's crotch for whatever reason, but they're slowly... panning in.
Mentioned by the Wall Street Journal. This is a really difficult moment.
Really? Who owns the Wall Street Journal? Is anybody? Who is it? I'm trying to think who it could be. Now, Philip, there's lots of people that could probably say they got a stake in the whole thing. Is the American Work Ethic Dying? By Daniel Henninger. It is impossible not to be struck by how many employers say the former and prospective employees after a year forced unemployment simply will not work. May 12th, 2021. Still not at herd immunity. Still not at 70%. No, not a part of it. Not even going to pretend that obviously, Newsmax is a COVID denial network, even though every one of their hosts has been vaccinated or will.
Moment. It is impossible, Daniel Henninger writes, not to be struck by how many employers say that former and prospective employees, after a year of forced unemployment, simply will not work.
Ugh, it's terrible. Until...
Goes on, the authorities built COVID into a 12-month monster so people naturally sought respite and distractions from the monster. I believe the pandemic accelerated the transition evident for years, away from the basic concept of daily work and toward an emerging idea that life is less about work and more about play.
Yeah, but I mean, play costs money. You got to have a job to do any of the fun stuff, and after a while, you're going to run out of money. They're going to, it's not, the extended UI isn't going to last forever. It's just to bridge people through, and it's not even a majority of workers in the country by any stretch. Obviously, you can read the tone of this and look at this as kind of the puritanical flailings of someone who thinks that people don't want to go back to flip burgers quite yet until such time as they know they're not going to die from it. By the way, every single state can turn down the extended UI. Every single one.
Big time, big time. And
why are we looking at this dude's crotch again, Greg? What is this picture? Why is it on your phone?
Netflix made it easy, and you know what? Especially here in New York and other places, I'm told, marijuana.
You're told marijuana?
People have been trying that stuff who weren't initially doing it, and a lot of us are more checked out than ever before.
It's the weed and the lazy teens today. Jesus Christ, have we fallen through a time hole and ended up in like the 50s? When is the Reefer Madness segment? Oh, it's totally a stock photo of people smoking weed. No, Greg took this picture himself at these parties he has at his house with Matt Gaetz.
And you know who was warning about this?
Who? Nancy Reagan. No. Richard Nixon. The cast of Reefer Madness the musical. No. Who?
In the earliest stages?
Who? The earliest stages. Wow. Hold on. The earliest stages of marijuana. Let me see. The Klan. That it was a slippery slope to being a black jazz musician hooked on heroin. Maybe something like that. HR Puffin stuff. That's a good one. Who? I'm very excited to find out, actually.
President Trump.
Sorry, what? But that's where.
Ultimately, I'm always right. We can't keep this country closed. This is a massive country with a massive economy. People are losing their jobs. They're committing suicide. There's depression, alcohol, drugs at a level that nobody's ever seen before. There's abuse, tremendous abuse. We have to open our country.
And he warned throughout that the long...
Where was the clip about marijuana? That people were... I thought this was about people are lazy.
This lasts, addiction, loneliness.
No, pot isn't addictive.
Suicide, it's real.
Nobody smokes pot and kills themselves. What are you talking about? And don't let the long hair fool you. I don't do any of that shit. I don't smoke. I don't drink. I don't do drugs of any sort. I'm not going to. I have no interest. None. I guarantee you I have done less drugs than Greg Kelly. I guarantee it.
And some of that happened.
Especially if you include alcohol as a drug,
and it's
which it
still
is.
Happening. He was right. And that was...
About what? What are you talking about? You were showing us a crotch shot of some dude about to write a penthouse letter, doing the popcorn trick with a plastic bowl, which I have to say is a mistake.
That was leadership. Good news as well as the bad. We'll be right back.
Wait a minute. That was leadership, the good news as well as the bad? Weren't you doing segments about Biden's dark winter? That's it. That's the whole holy shit. I swear, Greg, good work. I think you could probably get a job arranging Tucker Carlson's opening monologues with that amount of gibberish. Criminy. Okay, and this, of course, Giuliani was on Newsmax as well. It's one of the few places he can go back to. This segment is called Giuliani, Pre-Trump FBI had no interest in me. Should they have? I mean, this is a decent question there. I think there is a very strong jump by Hi, Nicole. By the way, love you on Deadline White House. Thanks for figuring out that the Republican Party is not aligned with your conservative values and becoming kind of a normal, middle-of-the-road human being and being able to tell lunacy from normalcy. Anyways, Rudy is basically saying, I think in this, and again, I've not watched this yet, but the title of it alone leads me to believe that Rudy is aware that he'd done some stuff that was sketchy as shit on, pre-Trump, but they just didn't bother with it.
2 FBI agents ending up in the sit room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration. If the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
Oh my God, I didn't realize this was Sebastian Gorka. I don't know what he's looking at, by the way. Maybe he's using the same Post-it scheme that Don Jr. uses.
He's laughing about using FBI agents to politically frame a great American. But that...
No, he's laughing about the fact that the Trump administration in the beginning and even throughout was such a disorganized shitfest that he could just send FBI agents over because they didn't even know how to arrange things. And by the way, if they don't have anything to find, what are you worried about?
But that was 5 years ago. Is it over? We have a new administration. Is it better? On the contrary.
Oh no.
I consider him to be a personal friend. Most Americans consider him to be America's mayor.
Oh God.
Individual who stood up.
No, by the way, he means Giuliani, and no, they don't. They might have at one point because that was a branding exercise. Calling Rudy Giuliani America's mayor was a branding exercise past 2001, past 9/11. It had no actual meaning. He was not America's mayor. And for the record right now, considering what his job is, Pete Buttigieg is America's mayor. Mayor Pete. He's getting the roads fixed all over the country. That's America's mayor.
Up to 5 mafia families and took those dons down.
Yeah, so that the Russians and the Chinese could move in. Weird.
Man who cleaned up the streets of New York and then helped the Big Apple get...
Did he now? Clean of what? Completely devoid of what?
Back on its feet after September the 11th. He's a great American.
He moved the emergency response center to the Twin Towers after the first bombing. That was his big idea.
He's a patriot, and he's going to tell us what the deep state is doing now. Mayor Rudy Giuliani, welcome to the Gorka Reality Check.
The Gorka Reality Check. We've all got cute, stupid names for our shows.
Thank you, Seb. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I consider you a personal friend.
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be on Newsmax unless you did. Honest to God. The mixture of like ball cradling and autofellatio that makes up the entire guest system at Newsmax is hilarious.
And a tremendous patriot, a real contributor to what we're going through now. We need voices like yours because we're being...
Because we need people who are amoral or immoral enough to just parrot your blather.
March towards socialism.
Okay. You can't... You just had your shit seized by the FBI. You cannot say that, that was because of some sort of big... Like, this is how the socialists are going to gain ground. None of the shit that's being proposed is socialism. God damn it, I hate this. Like, even the socialists don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And anybody who follows me on Twitter knows that, One of my pet peeves right now is Richard Wolff and the socialist crowd talking about this stuff. They are talking out of their ass, and so is he.
And a censorship is being imposed upon us that's
censorship? You're on a show as a guest. So is he.
Totally unprecedented.
It truly is, and they target you. I know they're not going to intimidate you. They can't intimidate the man who took down the mafia and took on Al-Qaeda. But will you share with our viewers?
Took on Al-Qaeda? What? Sorry, did I miss the story in 2003 where Rudy suited up in a squirrel suit with an M16 and they dropped him behind the enemy lines in Afghanistan? Took on Al-Qaeda?
Viewers, what happened to you just a few weeks ago when the FBI that I used to respect
before when you thought they were an arm of the Trump organization
came knocking on your door? What happened to you? Please explain.
Well, you can
all
imagine.
Of our viewers.
For me, this was like I worked with the FBI for 17 years at the lowest level and the highest level. I worked with Judge Webb.
Yeah, I'm sure that a lot of the mafia guys you brag about taking down were really upset that one of the guys in their organization turned out to be a federal agent. That, you know, I used to love you, Charlie.
When he was head of the FBI on the Hinckley case. Remember Hinckley? Who shot President Reagan. The FBI was a...
What, are you not going to work with them? What are you talking about?
Integral part of all of my mafia prosecutions.
Oh, you mean your Chinese mafia and your Russian mafia? Oh, there weren't any. Okay.
I actually asked for specific agents who were expert at being able to put wires in. So I have a very...
You mean the surveillance guy? What?
4 years ago, I was given an award by the FBI Association as G-Man of the Year. So...
Cool. Did you get a decoder ring? Was it plastic? Did they give you a box of Fruit Loops and you had to dig around in there for it yourself? G-Man of the Year?
This has been a very, very warm, close relationship. And all of a sudden...
Yeah, well, keep your friends close, right?
At 6 o'clock in the morning, 2 weeks ago, roughly.
Roughly. You going to lie again about how they treated you?
Tremendous banging, and they come in and they have a warrant.
Wow, I didn't know they had it in them.
And the warrant is to search for certain all electronics.
No. They didn't take your fucking television. They didn't take your laptop charger back in the corner. They didn't take all electronics. If somebody had a fucking pacemaker, they weren't going to carve it out of their chest.
A certain period of time. And I look at it because you have to have some kind of charge. And what they say is that I failed to register as a foreign agent.
Yeah. So you could be a spy. We're not talking about uncrossed T's and undotted I's.
With regard to some...
Yes, I am wearing a Steve Martin shirt.
A Ukrainian official. Now, I have for 2 or 3 years, been plagued with allegations like this.
Oh, it's sad, isn't it? Plagued with allegations. Is that why you have the coloring you do? Is it plague? It's plague, isn't it?
3 times my lawyer asked the U.S. attorney, could we come in and explain to you?
And yet, during the Trump administration,
and show you this is not true. It's completely false. Never.
And they went, no, we need your devices. Well, you can't have them. Just surrender your devices and we'll look at them. And I mean, you don't think we don't have crooks offering to come in and tell us their story without providing any corroborating evidence? All the fucking time?
Never represented any of them. In fact, I specifically didn't represent this person. I referred him to somebody else. And I wanted to give him that information. They never, ever took up my offer.
Because they didn't believe you. Because they already had access to other shit. And they went, he's lying to us every time he talks to us.
They, unbeknownst to me, back in 2019 or so.
Yeah, or so.
They went and took my iCloud information for 1.5 years without telling me.
Oh my God. Did you ever, Rudy, I'm a layman. Most of us in the chat are laymen as well. in terms of how investigations go. But when you were going after the mob specifically, and you were going through the, you got a low-level guy, and then you're trying to work your way up to actually bring down the whole thing because you knew that they were sketchy and all that stuff. Did you just, as soon as you got some low-level dude go, I know who the Don is, let's go to Gotti's house and kick down the door? No, you had to gather evidence and all this kind of stuff. And I'm sure it was a big surprise to them that you'd had a wiretap for a good long while. Were they shocked? Were they ever shocked, Rudy, that you had been gathering information that the FBI and the NYPD had been gathering information? Obviously, you didn't do anything. But, were they ever, did you ever have to sit there and play a tape for them and go, yeah, we were listening? And they went, oh my God. Did they ever go, you guys didn't even tell me I was being surveilled?
They're supposed to notify you at some point. They never notify.
They're not supposed to notify you at some point. What a fucking ridiculous statement. Hey, buddy. Yeah, we have a report that you're a serial murderer, rapist, and a killer. That you've eaten a couple of people. Yeah, we're just we've been following you for about 6 months. We're building a case. Yeah, you should see Gary's office. There's a bunch of pictures of you, all different angles, alleyways, renting cars. We got a shit ton of your receipts, too. Anyways, go back to what you were doing. We just got to we got to let you know. What? Who? How in the hell?
Who? Met Giuliani.
The FBI.
Giuliani.
Who are you working for? Who is your most famous client when they when they searched your iCloud?
The American client? Make sure you only say the American clients. That you were the president's attorney because he'd given you $1 and put you on retainer so you could hide all this shit, and that you were actually working for these other clients. Don't ask him who his biggest client was. Ask him who all of his little clients were.
Of course, it was the president of the United States. And in fact, the beginning.
Wait a minute. Joe Biden hired you?
Date that they asked for in the iCloud is roughly the beginning date that I began to represent him.
It's weird. It's almost like Trump told you because he had inside information that they were looking into you, and you went, you need to give me $1 and take me on as your attorney so that I can hide all this shit and we can push back. Because if they get this stuff and they know that I wasn't working as your attorney, but acting on behalf of Ukrainians and on your own financial interests abroad while you're president, that's all illegal. But we can hide all this shit if you just give me $1 and say, I'm hiring you as my attorney. And then magically, it's the same day. Which one happened first, Rudy? Because I'm going to go with the afternoon after they got your iCloud. Trump found out from Barr or somebody in the DOJ that was a sycophant, and he told you, and you came up with this scheme.
In other words, they basically said, we got no interest in you before Donald Trump.
No, you weren't his attorney until they came looking for you.
The minute you started representing him, they went and took 1.5 years of my confidential material off of the iCloud.
They don't take it off. They just look at it. No, you do realize that no one keeps emails in drawers, right?
It has to be they were searching for stuff that would hurt Donald Trump and also hurt me.
Why would they find anything? Why would they even think?
Some kind of theory that I'm going to help them with bad information about Donald Trump. So let me just tell them this is a waste of time. I don't have any such information.
No, you don't?
As a lawyer, as a lawyer, I can't even talk about it. All I can tell you is I began representing him because I believed he was an innocent man who was being framed. And I turned out to be right.
No, you aren't. And that none of that has to be true. Because he started his statement with, this is all covered by attorney-client privilege, that gives him the right to lie on his behalf.
And I also happened to turn around their case. And when I came in, more people wanted him impeached than not. And 4 months later, we had flipped it and we had exposed Mueller and his henchmen for exactly what they were.
Good investigators who were being hamstrung by Rod Rosenstein and not being allowed to look into Trump's finances, which were the primary motivator for the actions that he took, siding with the Russians at every turn, and therefore denying the ability to have a genuine investigation on that reached a level of criminal charges because you removed motive from the entire process, like that.
Now, that made them very angry because they went after the FBI, Peter Strzok, Jim Comey, who was a former colleague of mine. I hired Comey. But Comey committed perjury and has gotten away with it.
Now,
nobody's ever searched his house.
Now,
what are they going to find, Rudy? They're going to find all the stuff they got off your iCloud?
I've never committed perjury.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, you have
you lie in public. By the way, can we put a pin in that, guys, at some point in the future? Rudy Giuliani just saying he's never committed perjury. Just for the record. Now, that's different than saying he's never lied about this case or lied about his representation of Donald Trump. That's not what he's saying at all. But it allows for the inference thereof.
Valiantly for the truth. All your career, you represented President Trump superbly, but...
No. If he didn't have Bill Barr running interference, the whole thing would have collapsed.
You have to mention the final detail of what happened when your home and your offices were raided.
Tell us the story about the Hunter Biden hard drives that don't exist and the Hunter Biden laptop that's a fake. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. What color is the laptop? Anybody? Any Trump fans? What color is it? Is it silver? Is it black? Is it a rose-colored Apple laptop?
Raided. The warrant listed all electronic equipment.
No, it did not. You were saying that because he said that. That's not what it said. It was communication devices. They only took communication devices, therefore that's what it was for. If it was for all electronic devices and they thought somehow he was using the chat feature on his flat screen television to talk to Russians or Ukrainians through the Alpha Bank server in Trump Tower, they'd have ripped the TV off the wall, but they fucking didn't, did they? They took iPads, laptops, and phones. It was communication devices, not all electronic devices. They didn't go in there, is this a smart stove?
But there was some electronic equipment those FBI agents refused to take away from your premises.
Whoops. Did my thing freeze? What happened? Hold on.
Well, first of all, the warrant said...
Hold on. Did my screen freeze? I got it. Yeah, it did. Hold on 1 second. Oh, okay, why is the camera frozen? Hold on 1 second. That's fun. I'm just pointing and making a face. It's good. Hold on 1 second. 1 second. Holding a second. Let's see. Doink. Oh, that's camera 2. So 1 second. Camera 1, camera 2. Camera 2. Sorry, guys. 1 second. I'm gonna fix it. Oh, yeah. Give me 1 second and I'll try again. Trying to do it. Oh, yeah. Turning it off. And then I'm just gonna try and flip stuff off. And then, what did it? What? Say what? Hopefully, getting it back up and running. We'll see if that does it. Nope. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so camera 2. This is my first time trying to get this guy working. So like I said, it's entirely possible that it was take a big crap and then I fixed it. Yay. All right, so I have some, man, this thing is hot. Too hot lady. Okay, good to know. Important safety tip. Thanks, Egon. All right, and we're back. There we go. Look at that. I mean, who does that? Who can fix their own tech in the middle of everything? A guy named after a computer. That's who.
All electronic equipment. And during the course of the search, they presented me with electronic equipment that wasn't mine.
No, they were there to pick up all communication devices, electronic communication devices in the house. You had 2 burner phones. These phones are yours.
I actually just got it back. I said, this is not my computer. This is somebody else's.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm sure you're the first defendant ever to say that. Whoa. Hold it right there, Spinach Chin. I never even saw these assholes before. Right. Hold on, I'll make sure that, yep, audio's good. Cool.
And then they took my ex-wife's computer because when we exchanged property, I guess we couldn't find this. It was hidden behind something, and the FBI...
I'm sorry, what? You do what now?
Wife's computer because me with electronic equipment that wasn't mine. I actually just got it back. I said, this is not my computer. This is somebody else's. And then they took my ex-wife's computer because when we exchanged property, I guess we couldn't find this. It was hidden behind.
Okay, he had stolen his ex-wife's computer allegedly and was hiding it behind something, and was maybe using it as leverage in the divorce, something like that. So let me get this straight before the story goes any further. See if anybody can see the hole in this that I'm running into. So there was a laptop that wasn't yours at the house, and they took it. They took all the laptops that were there, even if they were not yours. And yet they didn't find any Hunter Biden laptop. What did they find?
Behind something, and the FBI found it. It's not mine.
The FBI, in searching his place, found his ex-wife's laptop that was hidden behind something.
My computer, it's hers. So they took it anyway, even though I said, it's not mine. All of a sudden, there are these 2 hard drives.
Okay, hard drives, right? Why are there 2 hard drives from a laptop that isn't there? Rudy, what hard drives?
And
by the way, does anybody remember, there used to be 3. Do you remember this? Does anybody remember when he first told this fucking story? There were 3.
They said, what are those? And I said, well, those are Hunter Biden's hard drives.
And you're supposed to take his, they're not communication devices, they're just hard drives. They have his iCloud. And keep in mind, before he says his, no, we don't want that. No, we don't want the, oh, no. If that's Hunter Biden's, we don't want to go anywhere near that. No. Keep in mind, these assholes have had his iCloud for years.
Remember, the one who put out the information on Hunter Biden.
What? Yeah, the fake information that you purchased for $5 million that was for sale for $3 million in Ukraine.
I said, I guess you have to take those too.
No, they're hard drives. They're not communication devices.
They said, oh, no. We don't want those. Now think about that for a second.
Okay, I'm thinking about it. Let me think for a second. Okay, I'm done thinking. You're an asshole.
That could have been Vladimir Putin on the hard drive.
It's in Rudy Giuliani's possession anywhere. Why is there no laptop? He's been talking about it. He's in possession of it. He's the guy that has it. He gave a copy of the hard drive to the FBI. He gave one to the Delaware State Police. He didn't give the actual one because we all know that Rudy is great at evidence tampering. What has Rudy Giuliani just admitted to in this interview that we have not had him admit to in the future? That there is no laptop that was formerly owned by Hunter Biden in his possession. Because if it was there, even hidden behind something, they would have taken it. They found his ex-wife's laptop that was behind a cushion in a couch or some shit, or wherever he was hiding it in a drawer. They found it. You know what they didn't find? Hunter Biden's laptop. You know why they didn't find it? Because it doesn't fucking exist. That's why. Because there are hard drives that Rudy Giuliani purchased overseas and that they've set up this stupid scheme to try and attack the election in the United States. And this whole scheme is predicated on loose hard drives. There is no laptop. It doesn't exist. It's bullshit. And Rudy Giuliani, for the first time, has fully admitted he does not have it. It was not in his possession. They took every communication device in the house. Now, I know what Sebastian Gorka is thinking right now. You can tell by the look on his face. Does anyone else in the studio know I farted? Or are their eyes watering for some other reason? No. The reason, what he's thinking right now, of course, is, well, clearly Rudy has the Hunter Biden laptop somewhere else in his possession. He's hiding it someplace to protect it from the FBI. Don't get me started on chain of evidence again.
It could have been me making a deal with some crooked Ukrainian like they think I do.
Yeah, they don't need that. They've got your iCloud. And they got all the other devices.
They took my word for it. So what the heck did they come and barge into my apartment if they're going to take my word for it?
Because they need your communication devices. Because what they're after is corroboration of emails and texts that they have already seen.
I mean, I can't fathom why they think.
Because you're fucking dumb. That's why. Because I mean, I'm comfortable writing off as old fart doesn't know how technology works. But since you're coordinating this lie and you arranged to coordinate this lie with Sebastian Gorka, both of you somewhere in this mix, either you two or Andrew Giuliani, his son, or Sebastian's staff, somebody in this process has to know that that's what the actual raid was about, was communication devices. And they have somebody in this whole circle of whoever set this up has got to be going, where if you have the laptop and you sleep with a copy of the hard drive under your pillow, and they searched your whole place and they found your wife's laptop, but they never found Hunter Biden's. Where is it? It doesn't exist.
I think I destroy evidence. I mean, I've been in law enforcement for
Mr.
half my life.
Yeah, I've been in law enforcement for a long time. I know how to destroy evidence. What?
Very distinguished career in law enforcement. I'm a lawyer. I'm a member of the bar. I'm not going to destroy evidence. I'm not Hillary Clinton. And
she didn't destroy evidence.
They would know if I destroyed it. They have my iCloud.
Right. You offered testimony before you found out that they'd already seen your iCloud. You didn't know they had your iCloud.
Here's the key question.
Here's the key question. They searched your whole apartment. They found your wife's laptop, but they didn't find Hunter Biden's laptop. Where the fuck is it? Where is it?
We'll have to end on this. I know that they can't intimidate you. It is absolutely impossible.
No, he's intimidated.
So what was the action against you really about?
Corroborating evidence they already had gathered.
Rudy, who were they really trying to intimidate?
No one. They weren't trying to intimidate anyone. There was no intimidation to it. They were literally there to pick up electronic devices. They were actually very nice to him. He lied about it, of course. Rudy Giuliani and all this, talk about how the left wants to defund the cops and how we're anti-cop, and never mind the fact that on January 6th, Trump supporters nearly killed 2 cops, broke one's ribs, gouged one's eyes out, tried to gouge one of them's eye out, gave one a heart attack because they were tasing him, tried to steal his gun. Thank you for saving me, but fuck you for being there, right? But Rudy Giuliani and Sebastian Gorka are predicating a lie on law enforcement that they came there to intimidate him and not just simply do their job gathering evidence in an ongoing indictment with a warrant that was produced by a grand jury.
Well, I think they want to, they're always trying to shake up the president. They're not going to intimidate him, but they still think they can do it. That's why they...
Yeah, he's pretty shook up.
We keep leaking every week that Donald Jr. was going to be indicted. And every week I would tell them they can't possibly indict him. He didn't do anything wrong.
Don Jr.?
But that was done to destabilize him, to get him to say something. They play these mind games. They also, I think, are very worried about what's going on in Arizona.
Yeah, that's why the FBI raided his place, because they're worried about Arizona. By the way, they're not.
I mean, they spent 3 months, 4 months blocking it. So if there was nothing wrong in Arizona...
The FBI spent 3 months blocking it? The fuck does this have to do with the FBI's investigation for you for a FARA violation? Nothing.
3 months ago, they would have turned over all the paper ballots and all the machines.
What does this have to do with the fact that you're an unregistered foreign agent and you were literally working with organized crime?
Why do you fight this battle to hide them? And they know.
Rudy calls allegation baseless. First of all, multiple allegations, unless he's going with the idea that what the actual indictment said, or the search warrant said, is a single, that he was an unregistered foreign agent.
They know that I started that. They know if something goes wrong there, they're going to have to deal with my big mouth. And they're doing the best they can to try to destroy my credibility.
What credibility?
I would say that's it. I mean, they'd love to see me. They'd love to see me bankrupt. I mean, they'd also love to see me in jail. But since I didn't commit a crime, I think that's going to be pretty hard, I hope.
Well, as far as...
Mike Flynn went down for the same thing you're dealing with, and you don't have Trump to bail you out.
As I'm concerned, they want to intimidate the 74 million Americans that voted for Donald Trump, but they're messing with the wrong guy. God bless you, Mr. Mayor, and the whole of the president's team.
What they're doing to our country is terrible.
Yeah, we got to stick together. All of us crooks.
The whole team, Joe DeGeneva, Victoria.
This is like, can you imagine if the Nixon plumbers had a fucking talk show? That's what this is. That's all this shit is. We see this from, any of the Newsmax channels. This is just, during the Nixon administration, if the plumbers, if G. Gordon Liddy had his own talk show.
Victoria Tansing, Jenna Ellis, you're going to keep on fighting and we have your back. Newsmax
TV is now. Why would you have his back if you're a news organization? It sounds kind of like you're a propaganda max, right? Okay, so I'm not going to dive into this because I think it's just fucking ridiculous. But I don't know what this, as we look back on the memories of that day 19 years ago, since I thought he maybe just put this, it was like an old one. But that day, 19 years ago, I hope we can all remember that this city and this country have endured the unimaginable and emerged unbroken, and that we can do it again. This just sounds like he's trying to fix his image problem. When did this come up?
My fellow citizens and all those who love freedom.
Oh, that includes me. On both counts.
September 11, 2001 is a date all Americans, alive and aware at the time, will remember where they were and what they were doing.
Okay. My question is, in 2019, when you were in Ukraine, what were you doing? Also, if you're going to put on that much orange makeup, don't wipe your mouth right before you go on camera. This is really weird. I mean, I understand. I'm a little shiny. I got, you know, it's the amount of oil in my skin is what keeps me looking young. But I don't wear makeup on camera. If you're gonna, just be aware that this touch-up situation is it. I mean, we've always seen him. He does the forehead wipe and then the mouth in a big circle and then down, and it looks like you look like a pumpkin doing a minstrel show. It's really weird.
The impossible happened.
No, the improbable happened.
The continental United States, protected by two huge oceans, was attacked by a foreign force for the first time since the War of 1812. The casualties exceeded Pearl Harbor. The confidence we all felt being impregnable to foreign attack.
Remember how awesome I was on 9/11?
Was shattered. And like the assassination of John F. Kennedy did to a prior generation, it robbed us of whatever innocence we had left.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't.
America got to...
Wait a minute. Greg Kelly would not like this. Why are you cutting to another angle when you're alone?
Confront evil face to face.
No, he didn't. All the hijackers died. I never met Osama bin Laden.
Of Islamic extremist terrorism.
Yeah, but we didn't see that face to face. I mean, that's like saying the children that were killed in the Oklahoma City bombing confronted right-wing extremist terrorism face to face.
And evil and hate.
Why are you cutting around like this?
Hatred of America so great that these terrorists even sacrificed their own lives.
Right, which hence the whole not face-to-face thing.
To kill innocent people. These people were not soldiers. They're not intelligence agents. They weren't even politicians.
Huh?
They were innocent working people beginning their day of work. Their lives extinguished in an inferno. Their families were left with wounds that cannot be healed. And
what the fuck?
A nation at first frightened of further attacks and then in shock, reflecting on the damage done and the future ahead. It could have been a day of just pure horror, but the heroism of our first responders and citizens.
Okay, what the fuck is the point of this? I'm scrolling ahead. If he doesn't add for cigars in this, I want to hear him say his reasoning.
Obama-Biden administration. So we must never forget. And we must never let it happen to us again, ever again. Ignore those who burn our flag, defame our founders, and kneel during our national anthem.
Huh?
Don't follow the crowd because you're afraid of losing business or a job or a customer or a...
I see. So cancel culture and Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the anthem is our own modern 9/11. Fucking hell. What? I don't need to finish the rest. It's just goofy. We've had enough of Rudy today anyways. Let me see. Where's this? Oh yeah. So yeah. Impending doom to normalcy. Why did the CDC suddenly change the COVID mask guidelines? Now, you have to understand, these assholes have been asking for this nonstop for all year, like from the beginning. As the deaths started to spike, as we cleared 100,000 dead, and then 200, and then 300, and these are like, why do we have masks anyways? When the Glenn Becks of the world found out that black and brown people die at a much higher rate than anybody else, they couldn't wait to get shit open again. And now that the CDC and the Biden administration are going, yeah, we're going to ease up these things strategically. We might have to pull it back if we get a spike, but basically as long as enough people are vaccinated, people will eventually be able to make the choice. If they choose not to be vaccinated, and they get sick and need a lung transplant and they have to sell their house, it's kind of their ass. You know what I mean? It goes back to like the right wing's attitude towards smoking, you know? But up until that point, these guys have been clamoring to, you know, remove masks and masks are terrible and all that. It's a violation of our freedoms. And now that that is being lifted and that talking point is dying, they're really having a hell of a time.
The CDC, the chief now, has said we don't have to wear masks if you've been vaccinated.
Right.
Okay.
Because enough time has passed since people have gotten vaccinated where we can see what exposure is like. And they now know scientifically about how much virus you might shed if you do carry it at all, which is next to none, if any at all. Even the people who get sick from it who've been vaccinated don't produce enough virus to pass it to another human being. That's why. And we now know that. We didn't know that 2 weeks ago or 6 weeks ago or March 3rd or February 2nd or January 20th or January 9th.
Now, 45 days ago.
Right. 45 days ago. A month and a half ago.
45 days ago.
45 days ago.
On March 29th.
Yeah, on March 29th. A month and a half ago.
She warned the nation of dire days ahead. Quote, I'm going to lose the script. I'm just going to reflect on the recurring feeling that I have of...
Because they were worried about people not getting vaccinated. There was a huge Trumpian backlash to getting vaccinated that was getting a lot of news. And it, by the way, it's exaggerated. The Trumpsters and the maggots who aren't going to get vaccinated are an increasingly small amount. They are a pitiful minority, even amongst Republicans.
Of impending doom. Right now, I'm scared. I know what it's like as a physician to stand in that patient room, gowned, gloved, masked, shielded, and to be the last person to touch someone else's loved ones because their loved ones couldn't be there. Now,
which sounds sad and terrible and empathetic and normal, but Glenn will tell us why it isn't. Glenn will tell us why her empathetic reflex and her fear is just an example of some sort of Machiavellian exercise to rip our liberties away.
Now, that was on March 29th.
45 days ago.
We continue to recommend masking in crowded outdoor settings in venues such as packed stadiums and concerts where there's decreased ability to maintain physical distance, where many unvaccinated people may also be present. Now, that, she said, on April 27th. Okay, so what is she saying today?
Because the findings have come in, they have reviewed the data, and the reality now matches up with what they want or hope would happen, but they had no proof of that, and therefore advising the public to do something. You know, we believe the ice is thick enough to cross the entire lake on. We think that the public can walk across this lake and the ice is thick enough to hold everyone up. We don't know for sure. So we're not going to tell people that walking across the lake on thin ice is safe. But in the last 45 days, we have had people go ahead, people who are on the cutting edge of it, who have been boring holes in the ice in strategic points to see how thick the ice is, and we now know it's structurally sound enough for everybody in a certain weight class to cross. So anybody who's under 190 pounds can cross. Let's say these are the vaccinated people. Anybody over that, or anybody that size and carrying their child, for example, should not cross the ice yet. That is not a change in the science. That is a change in the data. But never let that stop them from fear-mongering and acting like complete idiots. And by the way, for the record, I've met Glenn Beck. Glenn Beck knows better than this. Glenn Beck, he's a stupid man, but he's not ignorant. He's a fool, but he's not unaware of details. This is Glenn Beck lying his ass off for clicks.
April 27th, we have to have outdoor precautions and we have to wear our masks, et cetera, et cetera.
And then more data comes in.
She says she's following the science.
Right.
Okay. Well, let me give the science here to Stu, who I know follows all this, and tell me what I'm missing. Excess
I'm going to go with gray matter.
Mortality. What excess mortality, correct me if I'm wrong, excess mortality is we have a certain number of deaths every year. It's a,
Oh, fuck. Is he going to go, we're not at excess deaths, as if the deaths from COVID and what would have been car accidents are the same thing, as if car accidents and domestic violence shootings and shit like that are contagious, Glenn?
It should be kind of like a flat line unless something big.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's the difference? Glenn, what's the difference? You know what I mean? If a grandmother gets an infectious disease or if she's clubbed to death, I mean, it's just a death, right? It just goes in the death column. Now, I mean, we couldn't have prevented either one. And never mind the fact that in the death by clubbing, you wouldn't even try, I guess, right? Because, I mean, it's as long as we don't clear the excess death number, why stop people from clubbing grandmothers to death, Glenn? Why? With your little hand gesture here.
Big happens.
Yeah.
And we have a really bad flu season. We don't count the regular flu season. We expect to lose those people. It's everything over what we normally would have.
Right.
Correct? Mm-hmm.
Right. So all the people not driving, not flying, not catching other diseases, not falling into ravines, not riding their bicycle onto train tracks, all the excess, all the regular deaths have been eaten up by COVID deaths. And he's going to go, we're actually below that. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So.
Hype train. Do we have a hype train? Can we do a hype train? Is anybody hype training? Are we hype training on the Twitch stream? Are we doing that? Do we have it anywhere? Is it possible? Could it possibly be? I don't think so. I hope so. I mean, it'd be nice if we did. I think I have to run my other screens off of. Yeah, that's what I got to do. I think part of the jack up that I had was that I'm running my reference stuff off of this screen. So I'm going to shut that down so I don't eat up too much processing power. That's why I was getting jagged there for a second. Okay, so hype trains, always fun. Don't forget to like, subscribe, give a thumbs up.
We had a lot of excess deaths, in the last year.
Yes.
All of the COVID deaths, all of them are excess deaths. The lack of other deaths, because everybody stayed home, does not balance out the entire. At what point? So let's say an entire town gets washed out, and everybody gets killed by a flood because the dam broke. The people who built the dam or let it fail, that are responsible for the people who were drowned, can't go, well, we lost so few people to fire last year. It basically works itself out.
Yes.
However, the excess deaths the week of January 3rd began to collapse. By February, it was back to summer 2020 levels, which was pretty good, but you could still.
Summer 2020 excess death levels were pretty good. Listen to this fucking asshole. Listen to this.
Have maybe a rebound. By March 14th, excess mortality was
excess. Why are you not going with the COVID deaths? She's dealing with COVID. Stick to that. You cannot add car accidents and go, well, that zeroes it out. I mean, does it really make a difference? How? Thank you, Deborah.
Was at 1% above the 2015-2019 average.
Why are they dying? What if, here's a good idea, Glenn. What if, in Jesus' name, you could have a situation where you have a regular number of excess deaths that you deal with as a country, beyond just people dying of old age and natural causes. and that went down. And that people lived through difficulties, floods, fires, being struck by lightning, and even, yes, a contagious disease when it came up temporarily, so that they got to enjoy all the life in between those dangerous moments. Is that not a goal we should seek? Apparently not, according to Glenn Beck. Thanks, Jill.
This occurred even as very few Americans were vaccinated. When excess deaths began to drop, less than 1% of Americans were fully vaccinated. At the end of January, less than 2%. By the end of March, when excess mortality returned.
By the way, compared to summer of last year,
to 2019 pre-pandemic levels, only 15% of the population had been vaccinated. As of May 11th...
That's because more people were going out. They weren't dying of COVID.
Only 1/3 of Americans have been fully vaccinated, even though they've been saying 60, 70% of the population has to be vaccinated. What happened, Stu?
The older people were the ones dying from COVID. Other people are just getting hospitalized and ending up with a fucking half a lung, dipshit. We had that percentage you're talking about, that 15%, were the oldest people, the people most in danger from dying. Never mind the people who are sick, prone, still dying to this day. We're losing, whatever, like 800 a day.
Well, let me give you the entire answer here in the next 18 seconds before we go to commercial.
We can do it after the top of the hour. But do you have an... Do you know what changed? Do you know what changed?
Yeah, the old people got vaccinated and they were the primary ones dying.
Yeah, sure, we can go into that.
What happened?
Oh my God.
Is the science here?
Well, one little part of this, and I know this is not your larger point, but Ron DeSantis decided to try to keep old people alive, as opposed to Andrew Cuomo, who went the opposite way and thought, what if we kill off as many as possible by...
Yeah, DeSantis wasn't counting the deaths, so the old people that died in Florida, they just shrugged it off as other shit.
Importing COVID patients into their nursing homes. And that was a questionable tactic. It was early in the pandemic, though, so who knows?
Let me tell you, Mr. Steve Brigier, okay? I know your real name. I know where you live. You know what I'm saying?
So Italians are mafias people. Same joke he would make if Giuliani was on the show right now, but the idea is that you're going to swim with fishes because you're criticizing the governmental actions of Andrew Cuomo.
So America's dumbest mobster was part of
it was part of the New York numbers.
This
did. Wait a minute, Giuliani had a part in this?
It happened.
Thanks, Benny Loco.
Benny
Loco, of course, reminding everybody to give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Please do. Please subscribe, especially if you're on Twitch. Subscriptions are good. They help out a lot. I've got a subscription goal. I tried to make a little goal thing that goes across, but none of them are good and they're all terrible and they don't update themselves. So I'd have to go, how many do we have? It's not automated yet, which is very weird to me. But yeah.
And I think DeSantis did a very good job. I mean, the numbers in Florida are around the middle.
They're around the middle. Are they? Are they around the... Let me see 1 second, if I may. Let's see. Florida. Orlando Weekly, the news in Florida. Oops, hold on. Get out of here. Go away. This guy? Sorry, we got. Thank you so much for subscribing. This article right here. Oh, I've got to move this now because we got so many subscriptions. Here, I'll slide it down. There you go. Florida is undercounting COVID-19 deaths per new report. You mean that part? You mean like that good job, Glenn? That part? The You can't pretend not to know that shit, right?
Effects from the virus. He put less restrictions on overall. Part of this, I think, is outdoors to indoors. There was a flare-up in the South when people decided, holy crap, it's hot outside. I don't care about this virus. I'm going inside to the air conditioning.
So it wasn't a pandemic. It was real. And being in close proximity and wearing a mask and socially distancing actually does save lives. Is that what you're saying now?
And the opposite seems to have happened in the North. When it's so cold they don't want to go outside. We've seen flare-ups there. When it's nice, when it's spring and summer, they had lower levels of virus. That's
lower ass levels? What?
It's just part of it. I mean, you can't just simplify this to one thing. There's a million.
No, yeah, you can't.
Million different factors.
I know, but I was just in Florida this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anybody wearing masks in Florida. It's wide.
That's because you can get vaccinated everywhere in Florida now.
Wide open, but then you
And by the way, that's because that's where he's hanging out. I just got done doing Shakespeare. Thank you very much. And by the way, the re-airing is going to happen, I think, this week, but I will let you guys know. I will find out by the end of the day today when the re-airing of 12th Night is. And I want to do a watch party with you guys. I think that would be kind of cool. So, So over the course of the last the last month that I was there, lots of people wearing masks in stores everywhere. He thinks this because he was hanging out with DeSantis and going to like steak restaurants full of, anti-vaxxers and COVID deniers.
You go to the airline and it's like, you will wear a mask.
Yeah.
And you're like,
yeah, like Nazis. That's what it is. It's exactly. Yeah, you will wear a mask. Really? They just tell you got to wear a mask to be on the plane.
Like, okay. I'm wearing a mask. You have not applied it right. Put it over the nose. Make sure it stays over the nose. You're like, okay, I got it. I thought it was over the nose. I mean,
You thought, Glenn, this was a moment for you that, holy shit. Thanks, human in training. Absolutely. I wanted to do that for you guys because the first 12 minutes were in there, and I'm pretty good in that part too. And I get to watch it with you guys, which is very exciting because I didn't get to watch it when it aired. I was in it. By the way, Glenn, you didn't know your fucking mask was under your nose? Was this a real thing that happened to you? Are you that much of a moron? Ladies and gentlemen, Glenn Beck is so devoid of sensation in his face that he cannot tell that his mask is not covering his nose. He's unaware. How can two men be this big a mess and be ambulatory?
Dark difference.
It's interesting too
between Florida and the airport.
Yeah, it's very different. I mean, there's no first class lounge in Florida. You see people wandering all over South Beach going, "Where's my gate?"
Texas, with the two places you were flying in between.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the places where you're only operating in places where everyone's been vaccinated? You're only dealing with elected officials. You're hanging out with other rich assholes. That's that stuff where, was Glenn Beck just out in Key West, just feet in the sand, waving at people?
Are largely, completely open at this point. And now
no, they're not.
Interesting because the guidance on airlines really did change with Biden. And this is something that he can kind of control more directly. And when they always had masks on when Trump was there as well.
Yeah.
Though did you hear the 14 announcements they had to make about masks during the flight?
Yeah, that has nothing to do with Biden. That has to do with assholes like you thinking, I don't have to wear it. This is a violation of my freedom. They had enough people they were brooming from the plane that they had to announce it to everybody to clarify it so people wouldn't half-ass their way through it.
Not only the 14 announcements, but the 56 announcements that if you violate these rules, you may never be able to fly with us again.
Yep.
That's one.
There's threats attached to it. That's true.
No, that's not a threat. That's information. They're not going to stop you from flying. You could go out and get your pilot's license. You could hire a private pilot. You could get in a fucking biplane, sit in the back with goggles on, and fly across the country. It's going to take you a long fucking time, and you'll have to mail your luggage ahead, but you can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that's all new.
Yes, that's Steve Martin on my shirt. Thank you.
Most of that is at least is new from the Biden administration, where he put this.
It's not, they're just clarifying for people. If it's a government action, more information is often good.
And I will say, like, the CDC did open up, everyone talked about this, is how they opened up all of these things for people who were vaccinated to go do whatever they need to do. The science did.
That, by the way, that wasn't the actual thing at all. Let's hear his description again of the CDC saying, if you've been masked or if you've been vaccinated, you don't have to wear masks outdoors, and even in crowded areas. And then they move to indoors if you've been vaccinated and you're among people who've been vaccinated, you're okay. And now you can be unmasked indoors normally if you've been vaccinated. But let's hear how he describes it. I don't even know his name.
For people who were vaccinated to go do whatever they need to do.
Whatever they need to do. Is that what you heard? Because I watched it. I don't remember anyone from the CDC or Biden or anybody saying, guys, if you've been vaccinated, you can just take your mask off and go do whatever you need to do. No, they're like, be polite. Some businesses will still have a mask mandate in place. These are certain stores are allowing you in, but other places are waiting. So be patient. Yada, yada. Like,
the science didn't change between the period 2 weeks beforehand when they said something else, but also.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. They reviewed the data. It hit a certain date. A certain number of people had been vaccinated that gave them a sample size big enough to make decisions about this. It absolutely changed. Just because you don't know something doesn't mean the thing doesn't exist.
Also, they didn't open it up to things like airplanes where...
Why would they? What's the difference atmospherically between a target, which has a door that at any time you're at target, you can walk up and it will automatically open and close like magic, and a sealed, pressurized air cabin? What's the difference? What's the difference between milling around the aisles and being able to get away from someone if they're coughing into their sleeve and hacking up a lung like they've got tuberculosis on a fucking steam train in the 30s in Target versus them in the middle seat between you and your husband on a long haul flight? What's the difference?
Where, again, there's no evidence that a vaccinated person needs to wear a mask on an airplane. In fact, the airplanes with their circulation systems...
No. There was not evidence up to a certain point that it was safe, fully safe, for them to make that recommendation. This is like somebody saying, arguing against the 55 mile an hour speed limit by saying, even cops give people 5 miles an hour above and below to vary their speed around whatever the speed limit is, because people don't, unless they need to keep their eyes on the road, not staring at their speedometer all the time. And if they were afraid that they had to hit this 55 all the time, above or below would get them pulled over and they got a ticket, it would make it actually more dangerous. So 55 is this median zone, and that's the safe wiggle room in travel, right? If you get up to 80 in a 55 zone, then you become a problem. That's what it's like when you wear a mask in those situations. You don't know, they did not know up to this point, if you could shed virus. Let's say I've been vaccinated. It's not going to hospitalize me. I'm not going to get sick, but I can produce enough virus to get someone who isn't vaccinated sick. That's the concern. That's why vaccinated people on an airplane specifically, because the chances of you breathing someone else's air on an airplane is way fucking higher than milling about the boys aisle in Target.
Are actually pretty good places, and you're unlikely to get the virus on an airplane,
because everyone's masked, fuckhead. What's your control group in this statement?
But they kept those on: mass transit, a bunch of other different things that are
because the environment is sealed.
Probably completely unnecessary.
Probably, but you don't know. And when it comes to human life, erring on the side of careful might be the pro-life thing to do. Right? Pro-life people?
But we'll continue
that are
to
all
go.
controlled by the government.
Yeah, when they can control it in a central way, they're going to keep it on for longer than any of us are comfortable with.
That's your. Can you imagine how lucky you are in life that your big fear is that the government will make you wear a mask during a pandemic longer than you're comfortable with, and this asshole thinks that makes him a political dissident on a hunger strike. This asshole thinks he's Alexei Navalny because he's still got to wear a mask on a plane. Imagine being this fucking delicate. Seriously, as a grown person. Christ almighty. Okay, so next up, I want to show you something. And I'm going to work my way through all these things. My little slider thing is very jagged, but that's okay. And thank you guys for the super chats. See the little super chat thing going on behind me? I even ran it behind me. And you can, look at that. Cool, huh? I'm working on little pieces of it if it doesn't crash the whole goddamn thing. One of the things I want to address is the fact that while YouTube and Twitch and Facebook and others were pretty good at brooming the Qs for a while, the QAnons have found their way back. They are as present on YouTube as I have ever seen them. And there's a trick that helps them stay on the air. There is a, hold on one second. I'll see if I can give you guys a quick, there it is, yeah. I'll grab, let's see, that's the earliest one. I'll just pick this and hold on one second. How do they manage to do it? How in the world do they manage to get their stuff up that normally saying the same thing that got them broomed in the first place? And I mean straight up, Ellen is a man, that's why she likes girls. She's a baby eater, that's why their show is going off the air. Tom Hanks is dead. Hillary's been executed. Biden's clone's going to be arrested. All that shit. All that crazy violence that they're talking about. Because I don't know how you allege that a group of people are eating babies every single day, and that I don't know how that's not a call to violence. You know what I mean? Just that constant hammering allegation all the time is in fact a call to violence. Because I don't know how were you nutty enough to think it was true and you had a lot of free time and you thought you were saving children, why this doesn't make dozens of Comet ping pong shooters. Housepark, which merch is your fave so far? Oh, sparklers. Yes. Let everybody. I got to start I have some ideas for some more that I'm going to make or whatever. I am very happy with how the Motang shirts turned out, though, considering. But all right, so let me. I'll show you. This is how they managed to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, some of you may know our old friend Hank Kunneman, who's on Flashpoint and all these other things. Here, the way the right wing is doing this, both the election was fraudulent, all that kind of stuff. Our Behizzy friend that was on the other day. I'm not going to play a Hank Kunneman. I've got way too much shit to show you to even get into his nonsense. But look at this. This is called Hank Kunneman, Prophetic Word, Covert Ops, 4 Areas to Watch, Stunning Prophecy, May 16. Okay, so he's just posting this shit all the time. The way that they are getting it on YouTube and on Twitch and all these other places without getting it taken down is hiding behind Christianity. They are all now doing they, in the context of them talking about it, they have played up the Trump was Jesus's emissary and he was chosen by God, and that they're talking about how the Holy Spirit works in and amongst these things. And YouTube, for whatever reason, is afraid of pulling down what they think is religious programming. Yes, the Church of Q Snatch. That's exactly right. They are afraid to
Q Snatch.
They are afraid to pull down some of these because they think the religious nutcases will come after them, that this is religious discrimination. It's one thing to kind of weather they're brooming conservatives, even though there are tons of conservatives. I watch their stuff all the time. I'm like, while I'm I've been wiring my studio and, like I said, working on this. While I'm chipping away at this stuff, I have stuff on in the background. I watch a ton of like right-wing YouTube to try and get just a generalized picture of what these guys are talking about. I like to know what the argument is, okay? So I'll give you an example. Some of this is stuff that is based on what I look at. Some of this stuff is just like rando, it just happens, because that's how the algorithm works. But check this out. 107, 518. This is brand new. This is tomorrow. It's so new, it's not even now. This guy, I don't know who this crackpot is. Frog fully rely on God now. No, the frog thing is the green, the meme frog of the right wing. That's all this stuff shows up on there. Here's some more Glenn Beck or whatever. All you need to know to understand 5G. All this stuff. There's Andy No talking about Antifa. Gothix. She's a black YouTuber who talks about stuff. Honest to God, I don't have a problem with some of these folks. They're giving their point of view. It's worth listening to, even if I disagree. There is like actual justice warriors, one of the people or whatever. This guy, Bo, the fifth column, is actually left leaning, and has some fairly decent stuff. But like throughout this, one of the ways that look how this. Let's finish this. Look at this picture of Trump. This is a 2-hour live stream from 2 hours ago, and it's under Sultana Cooking House. Is who they just use these weird little channels as cover. Patriot Street Fighter's back. This is another Q thing. Streamed 8 minutes ago. 23,000 people doing this. Straight up Qs. Look at this. Q sent us where we go when we go all. Look at this.
It's at revolution.radio.
That's his whole setup. Patriot Street Fighter.
In a very kind way, not like some of these clowns out there that do what they do. They're useless.
He's talking about me, I think.
To rescuing humanity. They're just looking for, they have no material of their own. They have no original thoughts. They got to go out and just, basically try to negate what we're saying here without doing it in a way that makes me say, you know what, I need to listen to this person because I think they're right and I need to find out.
Dude, I'll gladly talk you down from any of your bullshit. Any day. Patriot Street Fighter, if this ever comes across your field of vision, let's have a full-on debate. I will absolutely crater all of your bullshit. It's embarrassing. I've watched a bunch of this dickhead stuff. It's terrible. And it's all just, neochristic, but like this fake inflated idea of capitalism that doesn't even match up with reality. It sounds more like the Chinese system. And he's just, he's zooming his show. What is this headroom situation? Is it Patriot Street Fighter or is it Plant Street Fighter? What is happening here? What is this? Have a show, dude. But maybe he doesn't have to work that hard. 71,000 subscribers, 23,000 views. But again, this is bash Biden and shit on America for fun and profit. This is what these guys do. Is his entire makeup of this. So this guy, Gene Decoded, is this guy's nickname or whatever. I want to show you a bit of this. We won't be able to get through all of this, but this is our good friend Kirsten W. It's jury's out. And she's the one we saw on Roseanne's show before that went away. She's still on.
Whenever you're ready, I'm ready.
Okay, so we're going to share screen. We're going to share and.
Okay. Covfefe, we stand up against the ancient fallen on the evil false darkness. Welcome back. So they've set this up. I'm glad you're sharing their screen or whatever. So they're doing. Is this Microsoft Office? Is this page like? Because I use Pages. I don't know. But Covfefe, we stand up against the ancient fallen on the evil false darkness. Is the show called The Evil False Darkness? Are they standing up against?
So,
I don't know.
Yeah,
share. Oh, that's much better. That's a good screen share. We've all gone there. Connect Q is the website that this guy they're sharing from. This is straight up on YouTube too.
Oh shoot.
Yeah, it's rough. 29 thumbs up and only 101 watching. That's sad.
Okay, so there we go. All right, we're sharing screen, so you're on.
Why are you sharing? You're sharing his screen. He's watching your screen.
Okay, hi everyone. DJ Finest, Ed Greenham, Diane Anderson, Betty Daly. Okay, here we go. You can share. You have the screen.
Hello, everybody. Sue Hartley. Everybody, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on what time zone you're in, and God bless you all.
So everything is done on a Christian standard.
If you will all recall, back in May of 31st on 2017, our wonderful, amazing President Donald J. Trump tweeted, despite the constant negative press, covfefe.
Despite the negative constant press, covfefe. But that wasn't an accident. That wasn't a slip of the thumb.
And the mainstream media went crazy and said he can't spell coffee. Despite the negative
For the record, that was only one of the jokes. There were lots of people that were making up reasons why he wrote covfefe. I chalk it up to a bad batch of Sudafed.
Press coffee? That doesn't even make any sense. How illiterate.
That wasn't the assertion. People were making jokes. They were just trying to make sense of gibberish. They were giving him the benefit of the doubt that he was misspelling a word instead of just blacking out on his phone.
Can you get it? And of course, they took out of Google, so you did a search, you couldn't find it. But covfefe.
They did what? If you search covfefe, you can't find it? Is that true? Let's see. Hold on one second. Covfefe. Covfefe Wikipedia. It has its own Wikipedia page. Donald Trump's confusing tweet. What's a covfefe? Trump tweet unites a bewildered nation. Covfefe Urban Dictionary. It literally means covfefe. What is covfefe? Covfefe HuffPost. What does covfefe mean? The internet will define that for Trump pronounces covfefe almost a year after the infamous tweet. We know the okay. So let's. We don't need the fancy bear. Okay, here we go.
It means many things. Amongst the
it does. It totally means a lot. Let's hear. Check out, guys. By the way, wait till you hear his definition.
First thing it means is it's a modern Arabic. I stand up against the fallen ones.
It's modern Arabic. I stand up against the fallen ones. So Trump, in a post 9/11 patriotic party, the maggots and the Trumpsters, who believe that the Republicans are the true party and Democrats are, in league with, Iranians via the Palestinians, that Trump literally is speaking modern Arabic as a wink and a nod to what? What?
In other words, despite the constant negative press, I stand up against the fallen ones.
Sure. And by the way, when he means the fallen ones, he means demons. My question is that if, let's say, you were fighting demons, would press be a problem for you? Do you think Constantine, if some of you may know the comic book or the Keanu Reeves movie, you know, he's like, God, you know, I'm fighting the fallen angels that are destroying the earth and are, you know, devouring humans whole and that kind of stuff. But somebody mean tweeted me.
And then in ancient Arabic, it's a word which means I will stand up against the ancient fallen ones. In other words,
okay, so this is nowadays they mean the new fallen ones.
Despite the constant negative press, I will stand up against the ancient fallen ones.
In Arabic. So Donald Trump speaks Arabic now. That's what we're. Blah, blah, blah.
So it does have a, just to start with, a very powerful meaning.
Sure.
The ancient fallen ones. In other words, Lucifer and his ilk.
Yeah, his ilk. You know, those dudes. You know, anybody who's Lucifer or Lucifer adjacent.
Also, it's an acronym.
Well, of course, it can't just be Arabic for fighting against the demonic forces of Satan and the Nephilim that are coming to destroy the earth, probably in the UFOs that the Navy has just put out. It can't just be that. Boring.
The covfefe means the communication over various feeds electronically for engagement act, or the covfefe act.
Is he missing an E there? Wait, back the fuck up.
For various feeds electronically for engagement act, or the
electronically for engagement act, the covfefe act. It's a bill that, you know, passed in secret, even though the deep state runs everything.
Covfefe act, which is
a
bill that.
Do you have the?
Do you have the what? Oh, thank you, Diamander. Diamander says Trump can barely speak English, but we're to think he speaks Arabic. Constantine for the win. I know. Okay. And she's like, do you have it? Because you're just showing my screen.
Your screen on, Gene? Do you have it on? The picture is not showing.
It's not showing? Okay,
No,
let me
it's
try.
not.
No, it looks great, Gene. You're doing really good.
You have to put it
Go
on.
again. Okay, maybe I shared the wrong thing.
You're sharing
You did.
my screen.
Okay, I'm sharing again. Let me know if you can see my screen now.
No.
No, I can't see your screen. No, you're sharing my screen.
It says I'm screen sharing.
Okay, let me get back here and untake myself out.
The deep state runs Zoom, clearly.
So you can't see my screen. Hold on.
Yeah, take that out and you unshare and I'll reshare. This is all.
Let me.
If only you guys had friends in high places that could show you how technology runs.
We're having a few technical problems right now. Hold on.
You're not having technical problems. This is not a technical problem. This isn't. I have technical problems. My camera froze. That's a technical problem. If I click on the wrong thing, that's not a technical problem. That's human error. That's my fault.
I'm going to take my share. I'm going to make you the host because.
Good idea.
Advanced sharing options. Who can share? One participant can share at a time. Not host all participants. Okay.
That's good. Read the menus out loud that you're seeing. This is really good.
Who can share all?
By the way, folks, like and subscribe, please. For God's sake, we got a good crowd in here. We really do. I'm very proud of this little show becoming something. 45,000 views. List of subscribers. He doesn't even list his subscribers.
All participants. Okay, great. All right, so we're back to sharing again. Okay.
Thank God.
Here we go.
Yeah. Fix this. Yeah, like if you could just port some covfefe in your computer.
Share. All right. Okay, so can you share now or no?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Let's see if it comes on the screen.
Okay, let me know if you see my screen.
Oh, finally. Hallelujah.
Oh, God, that was so hard.
Yeah. Okay, we got
Okay, thank you. So like I was saying, covfefe.
And it was worth the wait for you to not even frame what element of the screen that we're seeing, and you're just document sharing from your word processor. This is great. And you haven't, Gene Decode, which is his name, Gene, you haven't thought to maybe put this in Keynote or something like that, where you could, since he travels the country telling this to people.
Stand up against the ancient fallen ones, the evil false darkness. Here's the tweet that Trump did in 2017.
You don't have it framed? I would have it. I mean, honestly, do you even Trump, bro?
31st of May. The description that I just read about in modern Arabic, I stand up against the ancient fallen ones in ancient.
Yeah, nobody thought you were doing this from memory.
Arabic. I will stand up against the ancient fallen ones. As an acronym, covfefe means
the Communications over Various Feeds and Electronically for Engagement Act. Holy shit, really? The Communications over Various Feeds Electronically for Engagement Act. So this is that's what I'm doing. I'm covfefeing right now. I'm going out over Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter like that. I mean, I am covfefeing right now. It's a miracle.
The communications over various feeds for...
It's hard to say, dude. No question.
Electronically for...
Is a bill introduced into the United States House of Representatives, and when?
This is a bill that was introduced into the United States House of Representatives in 2017 on the 12th of June during the 115th Congress. So people that want to look at this bill can go and look at the covfefe Act, and I can just go real quick and show that.
Yeah, just go to it
for a second, so you can see it's actually on the U.S. Congress government.
Yeah, if you'll recall, it was a joke.
Site. You can see the bill, the covfefe bill right here. And it actually says that,
Yeah, I can see that. You guys see that? You can see that, right?
It explains all of the parts of the bill. So.
That's amazing. Hold on one second. Let me see if let's see, covfefe Act. Communications over various feeds, electronic engagement, House Bill, HR, Democratic Representative Mike Quigley introduced the legislation. Was introduced in the United States House of Representatives on June 12, 2017 during the 115th Congress. The bill was intended to amend the Presidential Records Act to preserve Twitter posts and other social media interactions with the President of the United States and requires the National Archives to store them. This was because Trump was hiding his DMs and shit. Introduced the legislation due to Donald Trump's routine use of Twitter, stating, in order to maintain public trust in government, elected officials must answer for what they do and say. This includes 140-character tweets. If the president, wow, that is old. If the president is going to take it to social media to make sudden public policy proclamations, we must ensure that these statements are documented and preserved for future reference. If enacted, the bill would bar the prolifically tweeting president from deleting his post, as he has sometimes done. Background. The bill titled covfefe, a word in May 31st, 2017 tweet that Trump sent at 12:06 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, reading despite the constant negative press, covfefe. So it was a joke at Trump's expense. But this asshole wants everybody watching his show to think that they did this in reverse, that Trump is referencing this thing that a Democratic congressman mocking Trump did.
Let me go back to the decode. Then it's...
Yeah, go back to what we were looking at before. He doesn't realize he's sharing the application and not his desktop. So he thinks we're looking at stuff and he's not looking at the reference. Just so you know.
Also on the 29th of January in 2020, they updated the bill to...
No, they didn't. HR 2884 is not HR 2881.
Out the Huawei and the Apple 5G for...
HR 2884 is not HR 2881. They didn't update shit. That's a different bill.
Secure 5G and beyond.
What? Okay.
House Resolution 2881 Then further legislation was done on the 12th of March, in which this is the summary of it here, the link, which is President Donald J. Trump is committed to safeguarding America's vital communications and networks and securing 5G technology, and the White House. And that's House Resolution 4998 on the 12th of March, 2020.
Which is, I mean, isn't legislation just like one big bill that goes on forever? These are just paragraphs.
You can read it here on the Congress Gov, again, Gov site 116.
Yeah, like I'm going to go click on a deep state link and have them be able to send 5G airwaves into my brain from a website. Are you stupid? Do you even gene decode?
Congress, the House resolution. And then at this time, the bill was fast-tracked. What fast-track means is you put it through the House as a resolution. Simultaneously, you put it through the Senate as a bill. So the House resolution, here's the basic write-up, that it's to develop and get secure both virtual and hardware and software both. And this is to tear out the Huawei and the Apple 5G made in China. And this is the Senate bill, fast-tracking the bill on the 12th of March.
Which has nothing to do with the covfefe Act at all. At all. Please work harder. At least some of the early Q stuff, you're like, whoa, that's like 7 and you have to carry the 12. And if you link this up, then if you ever got a shot of penicillin anytime in the mid 70s for gonorrhea, clearly if you rearrange the letters in gonorrhea and take some of them out or whatever, then all disease is gone. See, and Jesus is coming back tomorrow at about 4:40 in the afternoon. So probably have an early lunch would be a good idea. At least it took some mental gymnastics.
March in the House resolution. Then on the 23rd of March is a Senate bill, fast-tracking House Resolution 4998. That's Senate Bill 893, Secure 5G and Beyond Act of 2020, 116th Congress again. The above legislation item.
Oh, wait. And by the way, this is boring as shit, but wait until they get into, well, let's see how fast it takes
5G made by China through Huawei and Apple that run at frequency of the oxygen atom, which causes the water.
Okay, so this is
60 gigahertz.
This is why. This is why they think that, not because China can't be trusted and Huawei is partially owned by the Chinese government, and they're concerned that giving them access across the country to building cell towers would give the Chinese government access to unencrypted data from millions upon millions upon millions, if not hundreds of millions of Americans. Now, it's not because of that. That's not why we're brooming out Huawei from 5G. It's because the above legislation items for the removal of the 5G made by China through Huawei and Apple that run at 60 gigahertz.
Gigahertz is the resonant frequency of the oxygen atom, which causes the water molecules to oxygen atoms to spin, causing the water molecule to vibrate very fast and heat up. In the human body, this means two things. The lungs cannot absorb the water, and so the person literally, their lungs fill up with the water, and they.
So this is the idea.
In their own fluid.
See where they're going with this? Do you get it?
Secondly, the water heats up within the internal organs. And like what we saw in China happening, where people suddenly fall over dead because their organs are exploding and they bleed out their mouth, their eyes, and their ears, like we saw in China and in other countries with the Huawei Apple 5G. So the Q Alliance has created a good 5G that does not use 60 gigahertz to replace that. And that's part of what
the Q Alliance.
What the covfefe Act is to tear out that China.
Listen to this asshole. 45,000 views.
Huawei, Apple, 60 gigahertz 5G and put in a safe system. So
he was talking about 5G all along.
In layman's terms, another thing that it turns out the covfefe means is it's a type of magnet, which is cobalt, vanadium, iron. In other words, the cobalt's bonded to iron and the vanadium's bonded to iron, and then that whole thing's a ionic bond system.
There's a covfefe magnet that fights off 5G stuff because magic. But it's also fighting angels and also, yeah.
That gets the impurities from the 5G network on an ionic level to keep oxygen from being depleted and rendering the signals harmless. In other words, if it's spinning like that,
that's why you need one of our special medallions available for a limited time.
Not only do you drown in your own fluids, but you can't breathe that oxygen in like that when it's the oxygen is molecule in the
more like oxygen.
Oxygen and the water molecules are spinning like that.
Like how do you even catch them? Like I'm trying to take a breath and it's like trying to get on a carousel while it's running.
You're trying to breathe in is also spinning, so it depletes the oxygen in your body. So it keeps the oxygen from being depleted.
Mm-hmm.
So how that works,
there's lots,
is that, and this is a link, various links explaining how the covfefe iron, cobalt, vanadium alloy.
Timetransportal.com. Wait a second. Hold on. Hold on. What site is this? Timetransportal.com. This is going to be good. Nothing? Oh. What do you know? If you go to that website, they sell stuff. Triple U Project, Pandemic Plan B. By the way, who uses a background the same color as half their letters? Time Travel uses cookies. Oh, what do you do? Surprise, surprise. No, I'm not clicking your fucking cookies. Power outage, sabotage. 26 AstraZeneca paid MS6 in 6 million in fines after fake conference to bribe doctors. Triple U Project Cancer disappears. Pandemic Plan B revealed by Khan Sarayandin. Deja vu. It has always been a question. What is deja vu? When asking questions this type, one must go into the realms of the mystical. Crater on the greater Earth. Discoveries made by Project. Discoveries. What? New video. Crater Earth. Torture in time. Spiculous moon map. Discoveries made by Google Amaste. The good Lord. Nuclear transportal. Invisible friends. This sounds nice. This doesn't sound like a place where cuckoos gather at all. Ragnarok Climate Climax. Hello. Fimbulwinter Weather Mod. International Disaster Key. Fabulous. Roswell event. July 4th, of course, 1970. What's this guy? Ragnarok climate. The ancient runes with a warning for coming climate crisis, an old Soviet president giving an environmental hint, and Hopi prophecy about cobwebs in the sky. Winter is coming. Okay, good. All right. So just so you know, that's where he's getting his information
created, from. And here's the patent number for that. It's literally just like a magnet that you see on your refrigerator that you can slap on a 5G. It turns it into a Tesla system that actually heals your body while it's giving you 5G.
Well, that's sweet. So I bet those are for sale.
So the United States Patent Office, here's the...
Thanks, Thomas Anna. Okay, I'm not... we don't need to hear more of that. I'll jump ahead. This guy premiered 3 hours ago, 6,666 subscribers. That doesn't strike anybody as odd, this right here? 666 subscribers? Yeah.
Through the next time? If not, you need to check out My Patriot Supply. They're America's leading preparedness company, and they'll help.
Oh, by the way, they all of these guys sell end of times snacks.
You become happily self.
I don't care. All right.
Report. But actually, Easter was in April. So that is not true. And her explanation doesn't make any sense. Actually, with the vaccine, with everything that we're seeing, with businesses opening up.
2,479 episodes.
The job number should have shot up. We should have seen something completely different. Maybe we'll see it next month. Maybe, maybe not.
Yikes. All right. Here, we'll jump to the Simon Parks one. Okay. Oh, by the way, hold on. This one has, this is Simon Parks. This has our old friend Juan 07 on it, who, according to the Q people I saw recently streaming on Twitch, is a retired admiral who worked under Trump.
Expecting that I have 107.
Why don't I have those in my shop? That's true. I should have anti-5G magnets for sale that are made out of cobalt.
With me, and I'm going to do an abracadabra, and let's see on my hand signals. When I get to 7, I think 107 will be here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Juan, are you there?
I am, Field. How you doing?
I'm good. Over to you.
Excellent. This is a really interesting day.
By the way, these are the assholes that this Juan 07's the guy who always has his feet up, who talks to Kirsten W. and talks to Roseanne and all this crowd, and you only see his cowboy boots.
These people that we've been fighting all along,
I'll turn this down.
Their calendar dates, their number games, their star alignments, everything else. They're a pretty tough crowd to deal with, and they're constantly imposing their imagery on us and casting their spells. They think they're all wizards and magicians.
Listen to this. So the Biden administration and the regular functioning government of the United States, and people just going, scientifically we found out at this point that we passed a certain date and we know that people aren't spreading who've got the vaccines, so we feel good about easing restrictions, all that stuff, is actually based on like position of the moon.
Magicians and everything else. So I thought we'd take a minute today, Field, and just kind of draw a line in the sand and double draw it. Because
double draw a line in the sand. Apparently, he's not having it because
they made us fight. They put this here. These wizards and
he just left. He just left. He just walking away. He's just please let us just hear like and then a toilet flush.
And magicians.
Thank God he didn't tube in us.
Of Wall Street, these wizards and magicians of DC and the money city and politics.
Somebody's Skyping him in the middle of talking to Juan 07 about wizards.
Hang on just a minute.
Yeah, I've got another lunatic calling in to be on my show. I double booked lunatics.
All right.
Go ahead. I had a Skype call come in, so we'll delete that. Go ahead.
Yeah, he deleted it. Don't worry, Juan. He deleted it. You're fine.
So the key thing is that today is the summer solstice. Now, in DC, just a few minutes ago, an interesting thing happened at 11:54 DC time, AM, which is an interesting number all by itself, 11:54. That's a 9/11. Did you know that, Field? 11, and then 5 and 4, 9. It's a reverse 9/11.
Wait, is this?
Okay,
hold on.
I got it.
I got it. You'll have to excuse me. I'm putting baking soda in my coffee.
That was high noon in Washington, D.C. And this
what the fuck?
Skull and Bones crowd, they have a big joke that Skull and Bones time is 5 minutes ahead of everybody else.
That's not a Skull and Bones joke. That's because Skull and Bones is a fake organization set up by college kids, and it's become a legacy thing. But the reason they set their clocks 5 minutes ahead is because they're always fucking late. It's so they don't miss class. It's people do that in their car and on their alarm clocks.
So 5 minutes before noon is the time that they go by.
That's why we've been off. Because that, if you add that up since George H.W. Bush was in college, if you add all that up, that's why the dates have been off from when Q was supposed to do shit. They've been off by like 5 days, always.
Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets, and I'm joined today by Gene Decode. Now, Gene Decode and I, did a show probably about 3 weeks ago or so.
Riveting.
Back in has like almost 400,000 views. It's like
yes, it's frightening.
Gene,
and you've been nothing but 100% wrong.
You're like, people want to know what you know. So
he doesn't know anything. He's a lunatic.
Let's jump right into it.
Yeah, Gene, tell them what you know, because they need to know.
What do you want to start off with? I know we were kind of talking a little something about just before we started on. So what would you like to?
Yeah, it's the 18th, buddy. When is Trump coming back? He's got to be in office by August.
In the beginning here.
I'm up to your lead, Michael. Anything you like.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah, I'm just making this shit up as I go along. Do you have enough headroom in your shot? I know that Patriot Warrior, he likes a plant visible and a lot of headroom on his shots,
There seems to be a delay in, taking
this is a deep state.
Down this deep state. I don't know what that's.
Yeah, there's a delay in taking down the deep state. Trump's running a little behind. He had to do a couple of errands before he takes down the deep state.
All about what do you think?
Yeah, so on
yeah, I know, man.
That based on the video clip that was played from.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that there's a delay, or you could say that both of you are pulling dates out of your ass and making shit up, and no one's actually late for a party they didn't know existed. You know what I mean?
Gene Unleashed backstage level about the seriousness of this war.
Yeah, it's pretty serious. You could tell because you guys spend a lot of time on Zoom. If it was, all serious wars are conducted with the Zoom logo on screen.
I said there, that was an introductory to a decode I did on some non-terrestrial situations that are
some non-terrestrial situations
involved here. And this war is not like World War I or II.
No, it's way better.
This is a war for creation.
Right, yeah. I mean, those were bullshit wars, right? I mean, greatest generation, my ass. These are the true heroes. Not the people who fought the Nazis and died, at Dunkirk and on D-Day and all that Saving Private Ryan, Schindler's List bullshit. I mean, come on. They're not heroes. These are heroes, okay? These are the people who are really fighting the war.
This is a war for all of human.
Keep in mind, remember these assholes were supposed to be broomed off of YouTube. YouTube was going through and clearing these things out, but they're showing up on Sultana Cooking House, which has 142,000 subscribers. This has 22,000 views, and it premiered 8 hours ago.
Of humanity everywhere. This is a war for the Milky Way, our solar system.
It's the war for the Milky Way. All right, good. We're going to fight over a Snickers next?
A war.
It's the war of the Kit Kats.
For it all.
You can't break them in half like that. You can't.
This is the war. The beginning of the war between dark.
You're going to make a shirt with what on it?
And light. If we do not prevail here, we're done.
Yeah. If you don't win this war, if he can't win the war against hanging drapes.
It's made about unemployment.
Wait, what the hell? Back up.
There's nowhere you're going to run and hide and stick your head in a hole in the ground.
No, that I would not advise that. You're right. Yeah.
You can't.
No, you can't. You can't just stick your head in a hole.
Their plans, plan B that they're on now, is to go in their dumps, take 500 million Chinese that they
go in their dumps. Deep underground military palaces.
Have realized.
No, it's DUMBs. D-U-M-B. Deep underground military bases.
Through the history of humanity are the only group that don't rebel against slavery. Every other group does. So
no one, what?
They will take them, go underground in their dumps. They still have enough left, although most in the U.S. are cleaned out, and the alliance is cleaning them out all over the place.
Yeah, it's almost as if they don't actually exist at all, anywhere that you could check.
The situation such.
He does sound like Dr. Detroit. That's true. Yes, Clack, clack, clack.
They still have enough they could do that and eradicate all life on Earth.
Eradicator!
And then proceed outwards through the galaxy once.
Yeah. Once, if they take the Midwest, the whole universe is going to be destroyed.
And then on through creation. So this is as serious as it gets. And
Yeah. Why would they? They could destroy creation if they had the ability to destroy creation. What? And they could travel through the universe and do stuff. Why would it matter? Why would people streaming on YouTube be the only thing holding them back? What?
I understand that. And
what are you? What?
It's and everybody needs to understand that.
I do. I understand.
We stand together back to back with our weapons pointed at the cabal and not each other.
Yeah, that's right. Stand with your backs together, pointing your weapons at the cabal and not each other. And the cabal, of course, is Ellen and Tom Hanks and Biden. And so he's calling for war, violence, pointing guns at. I mean, I guess technically it could be metaphorically speaking because they don't actually have any. Right.
And we go and take it to the cabal. And
yeah, take it to them. This is not a call for violence or anything, YouTube. Hey, it's not like they're saying that they need to take up arms and kill people that they view as part of a cabal of pedivores on. Yeah, this doesn't sound psychotic or fucking dangerous at all. YouTube, guess what? This is monetized. This is monetized. This was live streamed.
And not each other. That's what they want. And
yeah, that's what we really want. We want you guys turning your weapons on each other. What?
And then it's serious. You're not going to run and hide. So if you're going to join the other team or whatever, you're not of them. I guarantee, even if you think you are.
Yeah, you don't have a chance. You can't join the deep state now. It's too late in the game.
You're not. Even if you're non-terrestrial.
Understood, CSL. Fear not. Love you, man.
And you think you're up there. You're not. You're a tool. And
you're a tool. You're a tool. Maybe you're a tool.
The upper above you is going to take you out when they're done.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, especially if, does this guy mind you just called him a tool? Or
just like the Native American trackers that tracked down other tribes and then they took them out when they didn't need them.
They did what?
And then same for those elite, supposedly thought they were elite. They got taken out too. So.
Yeah. Tom Hanks thought he was going to be fine. He was going to go, get COVID and then make a movie. And now he was killed 2 years ago. And this is a perfectly aged clone has taken his place.
So that's the way the cabal works, all the way up the chain to the very top. You're just food when they're done with you.
Well, yeah, either that or you're pulling my chain.
They don't need you, then you're done. So that being said, however, I do know that there's a flag officer situation in which they're debating when and where and how.
Yeah, you don't want to rush it.
And so I would suggest that debate needs to come to a realization that in a war between dark and light that we're involved in.
Sure. You guys are totally involved. This dude is totally involved in a battle between darkness and light. This guy in his orange golf shirt and his necklace he got in Key West.
A 5D chess game.
It's a 5D chess game. Okay.
Where you have
well, it's 3D chess played by two dicks.
Moves and counter moves. And at the point we're at now, there's 1,000 variables. And
yeah, at this point, you don't even know. We've already won, kind of.
1,000 different scenarios and 1,000 different playouts from every scenario. That a super genius, stable genius like Trump could hold 500 of those 1,000 in his mind, or some trained combat veteran like Michael could, hold 500 in battle in his mind.
That's this guy, not Mike Flynn or whatever. This is Michael Jacko guy.
A quantum computer could hold 750, but only God can hold all 1,000 variables.
Right, yeah. See what I said? It's only a matter of time before they say God or the Holy Spirit or Jesus that is working through this, and this is what keeps them from getting broomed from the internet.
So at some point, you've got to make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, flip a coin. Are you on the side of the forces of light, or are you going to join the people who eat babies? I mean, clock's ticking.
And you've got to come to a decision and realize that you proceed, you do your prayers, and you put it in God's hands, and
then you go, I'm doing my prayers, putting it in God's hand, and I kind of went with baby eater. I don't know why, but I mean, it must be the Holy Spirit speaking through me. I mean, can anything not be the plan?
Proceed, and we'll have the Red Sea moment, and we'll go out into the Red Sea, and we'll see the Pharaoh's troops coming after us, and we get out, and it'll close over them.
Wait, you fucking think you're slaves?
You got to trust in God, and you got to move forward. You cannot wait till 2024.
Yeah, don't look back. You'll turn into a pillar of salt. That's a different story.
And I would suggest you cannot wait till 2022.
No, you can't. No, obviously not.
No.
It's got to happen, because if you do, and the cabal moves with their mass, beyond mass to vaccination mandate, and they start doing things that do, Second Amendment and all of that, gone. The American people that voted for Trump, a good 50% of them are, armed and ready, and if the military is not going to do anything, if they don't see it at a certain point, they're going to say, okay, fine. If you're not, we will.
Holy shit. And like I said, fucking hell. This is happening all the time on this. I mean, it's goofy and fucked up, but this guy's supposedly former military, and this gene decoded asshole is basically saying if they try and move towards a vaccine mandate, which they're not going to do, or they go to try and take away our guns, which they're not going to do, we're just the 50% of the populace, the electoral populace, anyways, that voted for Trump is going to rise up and kill the other half of the country? Fucking hell. And YouTube is kicking Steven Crowder off. Crowder's an asshole, and it's his fault that he gets the hits that he's getting. But he's kind of a run-of-the-mill right-wing shock jock for the most part. His station's was put down. I think he got broomed off. And these assholes are still on. You'll have to excuse me one second. Report. What does this qualify as? Violent, I guess? Here we go. Promotes terrorism. These assholes are planning another insurrection. Yikes. Report. Close.
So it cannot be allowed to wait too long. I'm just saying.
What's too long? I mean, on the baby eater time scale.
Don't have the flow from other than down to me, and I don't have the privy of the details. But I've been told that there are certain situations or disagreements or exactly how and when and where and precisely.
Yeah, that's the problem with trying to save the universe, is all the infighting.
What to do. You got to, at certain point in a martial arts conflict, I've been in fights and been in all that, and
and I hate knives.
Hand combat and all that stuff. And I watch my enemy come in and learn his moves over and over. He comes in and I
just let him punch me in the face a bunch of times. I'm just getting the generalized lay of the land. Every time he kicks me in the balls, I think, you know what? He drifted a little to the right on that one. I'm going to let him kick me in the nuts a couple more times, and then I'll show him then.
I inflict some injury. I do some damage each time he comes in, and I watch all of his techniques and I learn. But at a certain point, you got to go. He's going to keep coming and coming and coming and coming.
Yeah, if I don't call someone, this guy's going to keep kicking me in the balls.
Getting weaker and weaker and weaker.
Hal, these guys won't come after me? Well, no, I'm not afraid of these assholes.
Yes, but at a certain point, you got to take it to them and take them out.
After a while, there's only so much nut kicking you can take, no matter how much strategy it teaches you.
And we're pretty
Thanks,
much
Robin.
near that point right now. So there's going to come a point where if you go past that, he's going to go get buddies. He's going to come back with some buddies.
Yeah. You can't wait, or they're going to go get their friends. So while you have the chance, kill them, I guess.
So we can't allow that. So
what does that mean? What does can't allow that mean?
It's a choice has got to be made.
A choice has got to be made. We can't allow that.
And then all you can do is pray, leave it the rest in God's hands, those other 250 variables, and Godspeed.
Yeah. God will handle the parts where he solves it on his own time scale. But the part, and just pray that while you're murdering your fellow citizens, what the fuck?
So you have my prayers, and all those who are devout and know there's only one God of all creation, and the Son of Jesus Christ, the Lord and Savior, and all those who have made oaths to defend this country.
Will mock and deride you and this Michael Jackoff asshole who are mocking the teachings of Christ with every word you utter, in the idea that you would take up arms. For fuck's sake, do you not remember the story of the ear cut off and Jesus put it back on and had everybody, he overcame death so that Christians don't fear death. Instead of you're gonna now, I mean, I don't really fear it. I'm a big believer in Jesus, but I really do need to start kicking some ass.
Against all.
This is gene decoded.
All enemies, foreign and domestic. We understand that.
And they mean domestic. Again, remember, whenever these assholes say you got to keep our Second Amendment so we can fight the tyrannical government, they mean shooting American cops and American soldiers.
Casualties will happen, and life, limb, and property, etc., and we accept it. And so it has to happen. At some point, it has to happen. So I'm saying Godspeed and make a choice.
Yeah, I'm going to sit here in my fucking living room talking to my dipshit friend while trying to make one of these 142,000 subscribers, or some of these 22,000 that watched this video, of the 400,000 that watched the last video, while these guys lounge around in their house eating snacks, they're going to drive nutcases to open fire on people.
Make a choice, and let's move.
Move? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
By the way, Gene, whoever this asshole is, and this guy aren't going to do shit. They're not going to open fire on anybody. They're not going to take up arms. This is a joke. But that doesn't mean that some of their lunatic viewers aren't going to do this.
Awesome. Both of us, having military backgrounds, we know how to be patient because we know that things change. I was in the Panama invasion. I was there.
The Panama invasion.
Many months before we actually did the invasion, and we had Noriega, taunting the U.S. I'm like, why don't we come in and spank this guy right now? But there were things that were, going on. Situations were in.
So you were impulsive and making mistakes, and other people were like, no, we have to build an international case. This is not an actual military exercise. This is international law enforcement about a cartel.
Motion, trying to line things just perfectly. God. Because I was there, SEAL Team 6 and Delta and all of us, we started to see things that were being manipulated. And, I've had some other guests on that kind of have talked about these manipulations, even like you're talking about, even within our own communities, So
yeah, you can't really trust anybody. But back to back with your weapons pointed at the cabal, right?
We're trying to get 1 stars and 2 stars and 3 stars all on board with what needs to go down. Sometimes they're not all on board, and there's
that's because you're a fucking lunatic.
Other agencies that are involved. Yeah.
No, it's not agencies. They're using their own brains. You're both full of shit. You're both crazy people.
Hey, go on and on and on. All these different intel agencies that are pulling strings and manipulating. But once we finally decide we are going to do it, and I'm talking about the special forces guys on the ground, then it happens. I was also involved with.
So a military coup is what you're saying. This is still on YouTube.
Hunting down Noriega, and it was the same situation. We were waiting for the exact right. I mean, we were ready to go on a dime. We're waiting for that call.
You followed orders because you don't have a tactical brain
to go, and there were certain situations, political and so forth, that were restricting that until the last moment. And sometimes
because they wanted to be able to try him in a court of law, and they didn't want to fuck up by blowing the case. Why don't you get Rudy Giuliani to lick all the evidence?
That's the way it is. So
this is nuts. Holy shit. And I'm kind of done, by the way. I wanted to, let's see. I wanted to show you guys this. There's this Axios story about a memo that Trump wrote after he lost the election. He handed retired Army Colonel Douglas McGregor a piece of paper with a few notes scribbled on it. He explained, this is what the president wants you to do. 1, get us out of Afghanistan. 2, get us out of Iraq and Syria. 3, complete the withdrawal from Germany. 4, get us out of Africa. November 9th, days after Trump lost his re-election bid, 10 weeks before the end of his presidency, and just moments after McGregor was offered a post as a senior advisor to acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller, head of the powerful Presidential Personnel Office, McEntee had Trump's ear. Even so, McGregor was astonished. He told McEntee that he doubted they could do all these things before January 20th. Then do as much as you can. He just handed him a list. Get us out of Afghanistan, get us out of Iraq and Syria, complete the withdrawal from Germany, get us out of Africa. This is directives that Trump was getting from Russia and China. Because if Obama or Biden had handed a list like this to the generals and just said, just friggin' do this shit, this stuff, every right-winger that could get anywhere near a television camera or a microphone would be blathering about how they are wholesale sold to China and Russia. Just get us out. Just get it done. Just get outside of this. Do as much as you can. The one-page memo was delivered by courier to Christopher Miller's office 2 days later. On the afternoon of November 11th, the order arrived seemingly out of nowhere, and its instructions signed by Trump were stunning. All U.S. military forces would be withdrawn from Somalia by December 31st, 2020. All U.S. forces were to be withdrawn from Afghanistan by January 15th, 2021. What the fuck is this, Miller wondered. Former Green Beret Miller had directed the National Counterterrorism Center and was accustomed to following process. Trump had tapped him to run the Pentagon after his unceremonious firing by tweet of Mark Esper. It was Miller's third day on the job. News of the memo spread quickly throughout the Pentagon. Top military brass, including the Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley, were appalled. This is not the way to conduct policy, with no consultation, no input, no process for gaming out consequences or offering alternatives. A call was quickly placed to the White House counsel, Pat Cipollone. In turn, Cipollone notified the National Security Advisor, Robert O'Brien. Neither Cipollone nor O'Brien had any idea what the order was or where it had come from. Remember that thing we watched about Jim Comey at the beginning of the show? Where everybody was talking about how he was saying it was so early and there were so in a normal White House, I'd have to go through all these processes to get this done. But it was just easier to send 2 FBI agents over because these assholes didn't know what they were doing. Yeah. Neither did the Office of the Staff Secretary, whose job it was to vet all the paper that reached the president's desk. Yet the paper bore Trump's distinctive Sharpie signature. U.S. government's top national security leaders soon realized they were dealing with an off-the-books operation by the commander-in-chief himself. Many would rally to push back, sometimes openly and in coordination, and at other times so discreetly that Trump administration officials had to turn classified intercepts from National Security Agency for clues. Trump's instincts should have come as little surprise. Yeah. So, all these lunatics, this guy, and by the way, the Board of Supervisors had a press conference today in Arizona I'm almost out of time. I got 3 minutes. Check this out real quick before I go. These are Republicans
out there. I would say to Karen Fann, I thought you were in charge of this. We need to be in charge of this process. They're not in charge of the process, which is simply frightening to me in a democracy that is what's going on. And by the way, I hate to say it, I know this is not going to be popular, but we haven't heard a lot out of the business community raising concerns about this. This is creating a black eye to Arizona. And I would think that those business leaders would want this to stop. And I would think that they would contact those elected officials who they donate money to and say, hey guys, get this in order or make it stop. But we haven't heard much from them.
And by the way, they're talking about the recount, the audit. Get this in order or make it stop. Notice that when Greg Kelly or any of these people play clips from this, or Behezy or any of these folks that are about this, they're going to cut out the get this in order part and just play the make it stop.
Erica, this gentleman right here. Jonathan Cooper with AP. Oh, okay. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi. So following up on that, if there are people out there who are not elected Republicans, but they want to sort of have an influence on this, like you said, with the business community, I mean, what can they do? I mean, what can the business community do? Who else might be able to have an influence to put this in a direction that you think would be better? And then also the other question I was going to ask is, should you have appealed? Do you regret not appealing, given everything that you know now?
I'll let Bill talk about the appeal. I don't even play an attorney on TV, but the thing that the vice chair and I are doing, among other things, is we're meeting with members of the business community right now to talk about the things that are important for us to be accomplishing in a growing county. What we need to be doing to put a plan together. And in those meetings, we're able to let them know about our frustrations, and hopefully we're gaining some support from that.
And, again, a lot of people have been encouraged to contact our offices over the past few months. I think if you're a person out there and you think this should end, contact your senator, contact your state senator, let them know, write letters.
They are overrun with lunatic right-wing Trumpster phone calls at their offices at all times, and so they're trying to push back.
Go on Twitter and respond. You can go on my Twitter and you can like the stuff that I'm posting, right? I mean, that's what you can do. There's a way we can speak out, but when we sit at home and don't do anything, we can't really complain about what has happened. As far as the appeal is concerned, look, we went to court and because we had concerns about this issue. And I am very grateful for Paul Boyer for not voting to, again, hold us in contempt and likely lead to our jailing. And he asked that we get to court as soon as possible. And that's what we did. Thanks to the great work of the county attorney's office, we got an expedited ruling out of the Superior Court. And what I've said, and many others have said time and time again here, is this needs to get over. This needs to get over. Address whatever concerns there are and get it over with. And appealing this, tying this up in the courts for weeks and months, that wouldn't allow us to get this over and get back to the important work of running the fastest growing county in America, the fourth largest county in America. This county is bursting at the seams right now. People are moving here left and right. We have so many issues. We've got issues like homelessness. We've got a budget that we just passed today. We have air quality issues. That's why I ran for office. That's what I want to work on, not political theater. So I'm trying to move this forward as quickly as we possibly can, bring it to a conclusion so that we can get back to the people's work.
Yeah, so they're actually having to have these things simply because the cyber ninjas crowd are eating up the airwaves in Arizona right now. So everybody who's, the county board of supervisors is having to come out and go, can somebody just say something about our side of things? Because on a media level, from Tucker Carlson to the 107s of the world and the Gene Decodeds of the world, they are inundated with this shit. There are at least 8 right-wing YouTubers that I know of, and I haven't even done that much of a deep dive in this shit, who are looking into the who are live streaming this the recount and audit shit that they're doing 4 or 5 times a day each. And these guys can't compete with that because nobody gives a shit. Normalcy does not make headway. So, no, that's not Ted Nugent. That's his real estate agent. This is Ted Nugent's proctologist right here. He found the hat when he was working on him. Somebody else had put it there. So, yeah, they're looking for bamboo and all this. Like, that's the stuff that makes the news. Just the normal functioning of governance doesn't make news. And it shouldn't. It should just kind of exist. Nobody saw this coming 6 years ago. I think we all did. A bunch of us did. So anyways, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm out of time. I went an extra hour anyways. I appreciate you guys. Hold on one second. So let's see this in here. See if it actually goes. Did it freeze? What happened? My bad. I made this screen and I didn't add that part to it. Haha, that's funny. Yay, fixed it. All right. Is this on? I wanted to say that if you guys see all this, thank you, Joe Carter. If you guys see this kind of stuff on YouTube, you got to let them know. It's one thing, like, I don't give a shit about the conservative stuff. I really don't. I watch some of them. I can see there's like baseline ground where you can work with somebody. Like I said, there's, the Gothics. I'm trying to even think of the other ones that are on there. In terms of like kind of right-leaning people, I don't give a shit if that's your attitude about stuff, really. Even Steven Crowder to some degree, although I think he got kicked off because he's a pig, not because of his politics, and that's the hard part for them. But and Actual Justice Warrior and some of those, like, I'll disagree with them on point, but I don't mind their existence, and I think it's fine that they're on there. The people I'm worried about and the people that need that are literally the hyper right wingers. Like, look at this. Let me show you something real quick before I go. It's going to be another situation where we all turn back to let's see. There we go. See this stuff? This Doug Kuzma or whatever. He's got 19,000 subscribers, right? A little over 1,000 more than I do. 144 people are waiting to watch this, and they're just in the chat. All the chat is all a part of the awakening process. Gets me in the mind of all the supplies we will need for the days of darkness. We are ready. MREs and food, pet food, medical, gas, cash. These are end timers. So, like, this is some scary shit. And people need to recognize that they're still on there, and it's gonna have, and a lot of these people are acting out. So if you see that stuff, don't be afraid to report it. Don't just report people that you politically disagree with, even if you think they're being piggish. It doesn't rise to that level. And the more you broom those people out, the only people that take over for that balance, for the people who do view, if they don't have the Ben Shapiro's and the Crowders to watch, honest to God, what they do is they look for the next best thing that politically lines with their belief systems, and what they find themselves watching is the Q shit that we were talking about. Honest to God. I've always said that Stephanie Miller is like a vegan hamburger, right? She's like a veggie hamburger. It's not, it looks like the normal thing, and you're used to it, like morning radio. It's fun like that, but it's got a better message. It's better for you. There's the positive and negative versions of that. There's a way to kind of slowly get people out, the more balanced their viewpoint is. And if they don't have that, what they do is they find themselves in the corners of the internet with these psychopaths. It's bad. I'm going to try my new closing. I'll just close out on this. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Be careful out there. Bye.
Telling you straight, it's my way or the highway. So anybody wants to walk, do it now. I'm your huckleberry.
I'm rich and I'm dead sexy.
Beef jerky?
No, son, thank you very much. No, it gives me the wind, something terrible.
Oh.
Sorry, I farted.
It's not Irish. It's not English.
How are you?
Hey, where's my contest for the horses, you know? It's just, well, it's just pikey.
To be moron. To be Morocco. An imbecile. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived.
Did you have a shade?
Lied to me.
Why don't you just sit there and bleed a while before you taste some real pain?
Well, it's a well-known fact, Sonny Jim, that there's a secret society of the 5 wealthiest people in the world, known as the Pentaveret, who run everything in the world, including the newspapers, and meet tri-annually at a secret country mansion in Colorado known as the Meadows.
So who's in this Pentaveret?
The Queen, the Vatican, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, and Colonel Sanders before he went tits up.
That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick, it's too heavy. Each one wanted to touch a different part of my body.
Q snatch.
I'd like to extend my sincere.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Computer board. Computer board.
Just follow the money.
Computer board. The Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese. Am I getting fruity? Walls and wheels. Walls and wheels. They can look at somebody and somebody is gone.
How, in the name of Zeus's butthole, did you get out of your cell?
I feel no shame, only pride, because my syphilis is a badge of honor.
They just explode. They just explode.
Person, woman, man. Zeus's butthole!
They just explode.
Person, woman, man. Zeus's butthole! I do it because I have like a good memory, because I'm cognitively there. Zeus's butthole!
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
They just explode.
You are physically repulsive, intellectually retarded, vulgar, insensitive, selfish, stupid. You have no taste, a lousy sense of humor, and you smell.
Geez, you're real nice. If I didn't have puke breath, I'd kiss you.
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.